The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Whoo, baby. Now that's some great Canadian rock and roll right there. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, and yes, that's a Canadian band, despite Levon Helm's titanic efforts to make them an American band. 4/5 of that band is from Canada. That is the band. Catch a cannonball now to take me down the line. My bag is sinking low, and I do believe it's time. Morning, Friday, happy, right on. Boy, can we just play more of the band on this show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A to the men on that. We could just do the band. I mean, just for just a month is all.
Yeah.
Just nothing but band tunes for a month. And yeah, man, that was a huge phase of mine and everyone else's, except mine came like 30 years. After the band, where was that? Oh, I was hanging out in Boston one summer. Mm-hmm. And those guys out there, they know their music. I don't know. Just that's something about that town, really into it. And one night he popped in a VHS of The Last Waltz.
Yeah.
I was like, what's this?
Done.
Watched it and then rewound it and watched it again. Everybody went to bed and I rewound it and watched it again. And that's all she wrote for the band. They went to the top of my pyramid.
What is that? Oh, that's the rest of your life. That's what that is. That's an introduction to the music of the rest of your life. I was aware of the band my whole life, and I listened. You'd hear them on the radio. I'd hear them playing in the background at people's houses. But yeah, I was probably 19 or 20 the first time I wait, let me put these records on and just sit still and stare at the speaker and listen to this. The songs from Big Pink and then the band, the Brown record, the second one. Yep. Those two, not that there's not plenty of other great music, my God, but those first two are the two I had access to. And man, did I just sit paralyzed in a chair for about a week, going back and forth, thinking to myself, there's so much I need to learn about music.
They changed, really. I mean, when the band started doing their thing, they had so much attention from inside the industry, and of course then started working with Bob Dylan up there in Woodstock and really blew up. But, bands like the Rolling Stones, went off to France and sat in a castle and came out with Exile on Main Street. I mean, Eric Clapton, greatly influenced by, he tried to join the band. He showed up and jammed with them for a couple of days, and they're like, yeah, thanks, Eric, for swinging by.
We all watch Get Back, the Beatles doc, right? 8 hours of the Beatles slowly but surely and lovingly splintering forever. What was George Harrison's what was fueling a lot of his dissatisfaction? George Harrison flew to London for the Get Back sessions from Woodstock. He had been sitting around with the band, hanging out with the band and Dylan, and came back to England with a sense of, I know how the Beatles can survive. We just need to collaborate, and we need to take a page from this guy, this band, the band. We need to take a page from their book. And he showed up, and it was business as usual. Paul writing 12 songs for every 2 and 3 that John and he wrote, and just basically being a boss at that point in the studio. He hung out with the band and saw just 5 guys switching instruments, doing whatever, serving the song, and of course, consuming copious amounts of drugs. But then went back to England and was like, I got it. And the other Beatles were like, we're the Beatles. We don't know what you're talking about. And that was it. But to your point, industry-wide and behind the scenes, the band was the all-caps band that everybody else looked at and thought, now how do I get that? How do I do that? And of course, the band themselves famously were melting down from within. These were Canadian teenagers who turned into Canadian adults without ever really getting off the road. When they finally did get off the road, they didn't know how to handle that life. I mean, their story is as much a roller coaster as anybody's. Not really household names, generally to you and me and us. Yeah, of course they are to us. But my God, can you get your arms around the impact and the influence of the band? It's impossible. They are every bit. My generation of musicians, they are literally, I mean, there's the Beatles and the Stones and there's everybody, but on that short list of whatever your Mount Everest is of music in the last 55 years produced in this country, the band has to sit right there near the top.
Well said, man. I mean, that's just chisel it into marble. That's I mean, you've got Richard Manuel, Rick Danko, and Levon Helm, 3 of the best lead singers of their time. Yep. In one band.
Any of the 3 would have been a tremendous lead singer for a band. That. They either of those 3 would have been the guy you'd be like, Oh, they can sing every song. They'll be fine. And yeah, like you said, they were all in one group. But hey, happy Friday! What a nice way to start to get the weekend off on the right foot. Let's talk about how great the band is.
Ready to go, man. Sorry,
you know what?
Yeah.
No.
I was listening to the band. I was immersed.
I was right there with you. I was so just. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. We've got a lot to do today. For last things first, okay. Last things first. The Sklar brothers are coming into the studio at 9:30. My God, I love those guys. They're at Acme all weekend, and they are hysterically funny, and they're wonderful, warm human beings. Go figure. They're going to be with us at 9:30. We're giving away tickets to something cool, probably around 8 o'clock. And then in just a few minutes, we're going to hear all about Candace's big day at Target Field. She threw out the first pitch. She caught a home run ball. She ate 31 hot dogs. I'm just assuming all this happened. I can't wait to hear about it.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, April the 5th. Good morning to you. The weekend is off and running. And the weekend started actually yesterday with opening day. Candace Wheeler. So wait, did I get this right? You threw out the first pitch, you caught a foul ball, and ate 12 hot dogs.
Yeah.
And struck out 15 twins, I believe.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it is a disappointing loss. But you know what? It was a good time. Ever since I turned 33 on Tuesday, though, I've been dealing with some serious indigestion.
Oh.
The heartburn is real today.
Really?
Yeah, the things that you ingest to the Twins game and then waking up the next morning, it's just not feeling great.
No jalapenos on the hot dog. You gotta, you're getting to an age now. You're gonna have to start cutting out some of that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I don't feel great today, but that's okay.
But it was a lovely day at the stadium.
Yes, it was beautiful.
I say I was watching on TV. I did not go to the game. Yeah. I did have quite a start, if you will. A little after 3, walk outside with Chauncey Gorman. We're enjoying. It's a gorgeous sunny day right on the river, and the flyover plane, which is a C-130, flew over my head at what felt like 7 feet. On its way to the stadium. And I mean, it was like, I heard the rumble approaching. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the normal. And then it just comes over the building I'm standing in front of, like, whoa, there it is right there. And I was like, hey now. And of course, reach for the phone because I immediately think, I'm going to get a great video. And it was at that angle. It was turning already. So it would have looked amazing. And I was going to post it and say, looks like we're invading Wisconsin today. Right away, it all occurs to me. And of course, my phone was back at the house. So anyway, a missed opportunity. But Chauncey Gorman didn't care at all. He was laying in the grass, just rolling, enjoying the sun. And I thought, this is a beautiful day at the ballpark. If a dog's rolling in the grass, enjoying the sun, what is everyone at Target Field feeling like? And boy, it was a loss. They didn't look great. But man, what a day! What a day to kick off the season.
It was stacked. It was packed in there, man. It was lots of people and. Yeah,
long lines. Was it? Yeah.
Did you get a beanie?
Nope.
You were not one of the first 10,000 people.
The beanies suck. What is it with this Seattle Mariners M that Minnesota's fallen in love with the little North Star up there? I know the TC thing. I don't know if that politically incorrect now. I don't know what direction we're headed with that, but they wanted to get rid of the Twin Cities thing. And
that's crazy.
Because it's all inclusive because they wanted Minnesota. It wasn't politically correct. It's not Twin Cities based, but it's Minnesota's team. I get it, but the M looks like the Mariners. At least use the U of M or something like that, I think.
Nobody's waking up in Brainerd going, wait, which team am I supposed to root for?
Right.
If it said Minnesota, I'd remember. That's ridiculous.
I just want to clarify, though, I was in the stadium on time. It's not like I wasn't, but, 10,000 people goes quick.
Yeah, well, there were people that started lining up at 9 o'clock. I think they opened the gates at 1 and started handing them out for 3 o'clock because it's opening day. And we had, I think TK was out there and Herbeck I'd heard. But welcoming some folks, maybe it wasn't TK. It doesn't sound like his kind of thing to be a greeter at the gate. Anyway, they're going to go fast on opening day. About the middle of the season, you go out there, whatever they're giving away, you can stroll in second or third inning and you'll get one.
It was fun though. I don't want to hate. It was busy and so it was a lot going on down there.
There's a lot you want to say and you just don't want to say it. I can tell.
It's opening day. What do you expect?
Yeah. Oh, but because of the crowds
Yeah.
and I mean, you got to kind of get used to that again, don't you? Getting back into after winter. I mean, of course, there's the Vikings. I don't know if you got out to US Bank Stadium, that'd be the same thing. But interesting, you said disappointing loss. Why is it that baseball? I'm very competitive. The Vikings, go 1-5, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm done with the season. Screw it. I got better things to do on Sunday. But there's something about even losing in baseball I tolerate. I guess it's the ballpark experience. Like, all right, it's a shame. We'll get them next
it's the
time.
experience, and there's literally 10 times as many games. It's like,
right.
Well, I guess now that there's 17 NFL games, it's more like 9 point something as many games. But yeah, you got 162. You drop a few in a row, it's literally just a blip. So, it makes it a little easier. There's a new trend in mental health, something that people are using to lower their blood pressure, something that people are using to really help with a lot of things, both physically. To maintain your throat strength and your voice for singers, but also reducing levels of the stress hormone cortisol. It's a really effective tool that Brian Zepp and Candace Wheeler and Tony Lee and myself are not allowed to do, and it's called speech fasting. What is speech fasting? You don't say one word until noon.
I think that actually starts when the show ends. There's a rule in the house, Brian, you're speech fasting for the rest of the day.
Man, isn't that the truth? Yeah, we got it backwards. But this is something, a lot of singers have been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And now it's working around, and therapists and different people have done studies, and they're like, hey, this is actually incredible to help lower blood pressure and deal with anxiety, which is simply this. When you wake up, whatever time it is, you just don't speak for as long as you can possibly hold out. Do not open that mouth.
All right. They're recommending until noon? That seems radical. I was thinking till you finish brushing your teeth or something, but that's a long time. I do know the singer thing.
Prolonged periods of silence dramatically lower blood pressure. That's something people have known for years. There's a lot of silent retreats you hear about people taking. And I went to a Zen garden and we didn't speak for 12 days. And I actually, a guy that worked for my old band, our monitor guy, Drew Consalvo, one of my favorite people on earth, lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Drew, what's up, bro? At the end of a tour, he'd be on the road all year, and he would go to a place several times up in I believe it was in the mountains in Pennsylvania, somewhere in the Poconos, and he would go to a 1 or 2 week silent retreat, literally not one word, for 7 or 12 or 14 days. And all he said was, you have some extended periods of what in the world am I doing here? The voice in your head gets louder and louder and louder, and then it gets quieter and quieter. And by the time you leave, he said, there's nothing more jarring than getting back into the real world after 2 weeks of silence. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's like going to the Twins home opener after a sedate winter.
Yeah, you literally just return your rental car at the Avis counter, and you're like, stop talking so loud.
I wonder how long I could make it. Because I'm a chatty Cathy. I talk to myself. You got a cat in the house, a dog in the house. We're having full blown conversations all day long. But I see the value, and I mean, I love to go hiking and be in the outdoors. And I think part of it is, to get away from the, what do they call it, noise pollution, including my own that I generate. Because you get out there and your jaw drops and you shut your mouth and enjoy the serene beauty around you.
We've had a few days on this show when I've been traveling, and so I'm in a different studio, and when that happens, like last week I was in Nashville for a couple days, and I'm at the Cumulus studio in Nashville, and I won't have said a word until the show starts. Because, when we're all here, we're chatting before we go on the air. I wake up, I drink coffee, I come into the studio, and we're all talking about the show and what's going on and what'd you do yesterday. When I'm away, that doesn't happen. We're all texting each other. We're waiting. And there have been several times, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, where I turn on my mic and I go, hey, it's the Kate. And my voice is like, and then I wait for you to start talking, Zepp. I turn my mic off and I'm like, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to talk. So
it's like the old car in the middle of winter.
I don't get this. I don't speech fast till noon, but sometimes it is till 6 a.m. and that's even a shocker for me. So, I did make a note to myself literally last week, and I was like, talk, dumbass. Get your voice warmed up before you turn on a microphone.
All right. I like it. Talk, dumbass. You're going to keep talking all through the morning. We're just getting started this morning. Game show at 8 o'clock. We're going to try something different and I think fairly simple, although I was going through it and I lost the game show. But that's coming at 8 o'clock for Judas Priest tickets or maybe April Wine tickets tonight at the Medina. The Sklar brothers are at Acme headlining, and we're excited to have them in at 9:30. Mike Evans' Hollywood Report does include New Movie Friday. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and Text line. Before the Mike Evans Hollywood Report, I believe we have a caller who wants to talk about the Twins game yesterday.
Yeah, a Twins story in general. I'm not sure. I kind of, I didn't even
You just went for it.
We're just going
It's free for
it.
all Friday. Yeah.
Who we got?
Scott from Minnetonka.
Scott, good morning, brother.
How are we doing today, guys?
All is well, sir. What do you got for us?
So here's the deal. In 1984, Carl Polwett bought the Twins from Cal Griffith. I'm at a game with my little brother and dad and grandpa, and we're standing over the Twins dugout with a string with a baseball and a plastic sandwich bag with a pen, trying to get the players to sign. Now, this happened to be Kent Herbeck, Kirby Puckett's rookie year, whatnot. And all of a sudden, somebody says, "Hey, that's Carl Polwett." I yelled down, "Mr. Polwett, can I come on the field?" He turns around and goes, "One person." I hung over the dugout, dropped down. I hit the ground. Now, this is about 15, 18 feet down. I hit the ground, stand up, and I'm between three guys. Rudy Purpich, Cal Griffiths, and Carl Polwett. So I get my baseball signed by the whole Twins team. I'm talking everybody. Kent Herbeck's rookie year, Kirby Puckett's, all of them. I still have this baseball. Hand signed by Cal Griffith and Carl Polwett, the new and old owner. So this all happens, and they go, "Hey, kid, go out on the field and hold this banner with Rudy Purpich," who happened to be the governor at the time.
Yeah.
So I go hold a banner that says, "Twins donate 10,000 pounds of food to the Minnesota food shelves," whatnot. After that, he says, "Hey, when you're done, kid, go tell your folks what's going on. Come to the Vikings press box." I get done, give my dad the baseball and all this and that. Go to the Vikings press box, two guys in dark suits open the door. "Are you Darren? Are you Scott?" "Sorry." But, yes, I am. I get to sit between the governor's wife through the whole game. I still have a baseball and a hand-signed picture from the governor. His wife took my address, and they sent it to me. So
nice.
At 13, that's a pretty cool story.
That's living large. That's life well spent right there.
Think of the names that would be on that baseball from 1984.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned a couple of big ones right there, right off the top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gary Gaetti, all of them. But, that was a good day. When you guys were talking about Twins and the events or things that have happened for people.
Yeah,
I thought I better call and tell mine. That was kind of a unique story.
Appreciate that, man.
That's
Thank you so
whopper.
much. That's pretty great. Yeah, 13 years old. You're going to remember that forever. Right on. Thank you for the call. 651-989-ROCK if anybody wants to share anything else with us. In the meantime, it's Friday, which means we got to hear about some new movies. It's the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Steve and Candace. Good morning, Zap. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, everybody. Boy, big series, the Twins and Cleveland. I can't wait for that. But today is Aloha Friday, Movie Review Friday, and two movies opening up at Marcus Theaters. If you're ever going to go see a movie, the only place to go see a movie is Marcus Theaters. And don't forget, every Tuesday, $6 gets you in to see any movie only, exclusively at Marcus Theaters. Two movies opening up today that hope to dethrone Godzilla versus Kong. But I don't think they're going to do it. But first, here's a quick reminder. Steve, I think you'll agree with me. Just because I like a movie doesn't mean that you're going to like the movie. And my wife Cheryl doesn't like all the movies I like. And certainly the same is true. Just because I don't like a movie doesn't mean that you're going to dislike it too. And with that said, to be honest, I don't think I would pay to see either one of these two movies that are dropping today. The first, Omen and Monkey Man. But then again, I see them free. It's my job. However, my son, my brother, and my sister, they can't wait to pay to see these movies. That's what makes movies so great. Different strokes for different folks. And both of these movies, although not my cup of tea, are really made well. They're really well-made films. The first is Omen. It's part of the franchise. Then the acting is really strong. I was especially impressed by Nell Tiger Free, who you might remember from TV's Game of Thrones. In fact, her acting alone is probably worth a ticket, even if you don't like that genre. The movie, for me, a little too gruesome, disturbing, and creepy. But if you're interested in who's the mother of the Antichrist, this movie is for you. This movie will do great box office, and for the genre that it's in, it is good. It's really good. Just not my cup of tea. The next is Monkey Man. Bloody, brutal, and depressing. I like Monkey Man more than the first Omen. The story takes revenge to another level. And you will cheer our hero as he gets even. And boy, he knows how. Director Dev Patel is also the main star and is fabulous as both the star and the director. You might remember Dev from Slumdog Millionaire. Complex and deep, rated R, and under 2 hours. Next, it's Monkey Man. Sports shorts, women's Final Four. I bet on South Carolina and UConn. Go Page. My pick to win the men's Final Four, Purdue and UConn. Boy, it could be a big weekend for UConn. And next week, Steve, I know you're excited about this like I am, the Masters. And Tiger Woods is playing in the Masters. And Tiger says he is restrained from sex for the last few weeks leading up to the tournament. My question, is that true when he's alone? Is he the master of his domain?
Oh.
It's Aloha Friday. No, we're done Monday.
Nope.
We're going to play the Aloha Friday. Have a great weekend. Lily Yokalani, Lonnie on the OK, a coo and a cock and a ark and hooey, 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 ho.
Women weekend legs. We learned that in Rocky, didn't we? Women weekend legs.
That's what they say. That's what they love to say. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, there you have it, your Movie Review Friday. And now it's time for a quick look back. How about a history lesson? On this day, April 5th, 1925, the Yankees beat the Dodgers 16-9 in an exhibition game in North Carolina, of all places. Babe Ruth collapsed on the field. He had an ulcer. Imagine the doctor coming in. Babe, you're smoking enough cigars, right? I mean, how many times have we told you this? What about hot dogs? Are you eating enough hot dogs, babe? How much beer, babe? Come on, we got to take care of your stomach, bud. I'm just saying. Babe Ruth with an ulcer, least to his concerns.
He consumes so many cigars and hot dogs. You know this. That's why I use the references. I wonder if he ever mistook the two. You know, tried to smoke a hot dog. Or
sure.
Take a big bite out of a cigar.
I guarantee you there has been a hot dog that was on fire in his mouth before. No question about it.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. Friday, April the 5th. The weekend is upon us. AC/DC with Thunderstruck right there. In 1991, that album, The Razor's Edge, was released. Thunderstruck was a huge hit all over the world. And I spent the month of August and September 1991 on a tour with AC/DC, the Monsters of Rock tour in Europe. And we played a bunch of shows. And it was AC/DC, Metallica, Motley Crue, Pantera, Queensryche, and the Black Crowes. Which one of those bands didn't fit in at all? The guys who went on at 2 in the afternoon, the Black Crowes. First album, first time playing giant festivals like that in Europe. It was actually fun. We had a great time. And the guys in AC/DC couldn't have been cooler. They were like, I'm proper rock and roll band. You guys sound good. Thanks. And we were like, oh, my God, they're talking to us. And the whole time, and they were great. I mean, they were totally accommodating, wonderful, warm people. But, you know, AC/DC, like, they live in the cone of silence. Like, you don't really know anything about them. Think about all the rock bands of the last 40 years that have blown up, like Metallica included, or I guess with AC/DC, it's more like 45, almost 50 years now. But, you know who they're married to. You know what they like to do in their off time. I mean, you just feel like we know. Not those guys, man. AC/DC, they punch the clock or you just don't even know they exist. They're either on stage, in the studio, or invisible. And I love that about them to this day.
That's probably why they're so awesome.
Yeah. It's got a lot to do with it.
I remember the first time I saw them interviewed, I had already saw them in concert and bought, I don't know, several of their albums. They were a super huge band already. And I thought, oh my gosh, he sounds like an adult man. He just looks like such a crazed, he's got the school kid thing going on. I don't know what I expected him to sound like I don't know, something weird. And here he was just, with his Aussie accent talking very maturely. And I thought, wow, that's Angus Young.
And I mean, not to be like silly about it, but it was kind of weird. So my band, the Black Crowes, we were the tallest band probably ever. I'm not kidding. Everyone in my band was over 6 feet tall. That's incredibly unusual. It was not a requirement to join the band. It just worked out that way. So when we added our piano player in 1991 to become a 6-piece band, he was like 6'4". He had me by an inch or an inch and a half. And so, I mean, we were like, we were over 37 feet stretched head to toe, end to end. And no band could touch us. And then we're on tour with AC/DC. Easily the shortest band ever. Because Brian Johnson and Cliff Williams are like the big dudes in the band. They're both like 5'7". Angus and Malcolm, I believe they're 5 and 5'1".
Yeah, I mean,
and skinny as they're toothpicks, and they are both so small. I spent that whole tour going, I know I could pick them both up over my shoulders like I'm Andre the Giant or something, and if I do it, there has to be a camera near, and I could never quite pull the trigger. I thought, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm not drunk enough yet to go pick up two of the greatest, most iconic guitarists in rock history and swing them around on my shoulders. Boy, I wish I'd had the guts to do it.
Before I had seen AC/DC live, I had a chance to see the Alice Cooper. Came through Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and we fired down there as young kids in high school. And I remember one of the lead guitarist, whoever that was in the Alice Cooper band, was playing the same guitar as Angus Young. Yeah. And my buddy mentioned it, and I said, no, but his is a smaller version of it. I didn't realize Angus Young was 5'1". I thought he just had a huge version of that guitar. I was like, no, but that's the micro version, dude. Yeah. But no,
that's a great point. And I was going to say, if just for scaling purposes, anytime you see somebody holding a Gibson SG, then pull up a photo of Angus holding the same guitar. When Angus holds it, it looks like he's holding a lawnmower.
Yeah, right.
Like he's got a Briggs and Stratton up there cranking it. It's pretty great. But man, I AC/DC to this day. I mean, they've announced some European dates this summer. Nothing in North America yet, but God willing, they will put some dates up. I will go see Angus Young play guitar for any time I ever can. Yeah. I look very, very forward to that. So anyway, all that to say, great. But again, they were such a mysterious group of guys. You didn't know anything about them. We got around them and hung out, and they couldn't have been cooler. I mean, they were like the most normal, down to earth, and then it made sense. Like, oh yeah, they don't have any time to be in tabloids and rock star hijinks. They're literally just lads. They're just the most salt of the earth kind of people. It was one of the great surprises. One of the greatest. I never expected that, and it was the fact that those guys were just so very cool. We learn a lot in life. Sometimes very pleasant surprise. Sometimes, oh, why didn't anyone tell me this? We as men, now the not the royal we, but we as men, we don't know a damn thing about women. Ever.
No, but to defend dudes, we think we do.
Oh, hell yeah, we do.
We got a lot to say about them.
Oh my God, yeah, we're. I mean, every one of us is like poster boy for Dunning-Kruger when it comes to women. We think we know everything.
I feel like they're serpentining. I feel like they move around on us. That when we start to sort of zero in on something, they change it just to keep effing with us, keep us on our heels. Maybe that's just me.
I've had this conversation with several men. Several meaning a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Candace, I want to ask you about this. One thing I was very shocked to discover early in life, and it carried through to now the woman I've been with for 30 plus years. Women take showers in the hottest water imaginable and possible at all times.
Well, am I supposed to take a cold shower? What the heck?
No.
There's the whole, that knob goes around like 360, not quite 360, like 300 degrees.
What's the problem?
The problem is I get burnt. The first time I ever took a shower with a woman, I got my foot felt some of that water, and I literally was like, "Wow, wow, wow!"
Yeah.
And I thought to pull her out because I was like, "Oh my god, she's trying to kill herself."
Yeah.
And it's not a list of it's not a list in the hundreds, but every woman I've ever showered with the shower lasts for me about 4 seconds because I'm like, you either turn that heat down or I'm out of here.
Yeah,
It's
boiling.
impossible. What is that?
I never have thought about this or noticed this or anything. I don't know. I guess. I mean, I like hot showers.
I guarantee you
it's like lava hot.
I'd be willing to
Really?
bet the temperature of the water that you think is a comfortable shower is completely unacceptable.
Well, stay out of my shower.
Well, we're not gonna find out. Trust me. It's
Yeah.
I'm not concerned. I'm just saying that's a thing. That's anecdotally speaking, that covers the spectrum. Every guy I know, if you mention that, they go, "Oh yeah, no, it's just the worst." Also, what is it about women where they don't finish their drinks?
Well,
I
might
there is
be that girl.
There's right now at my home, which is just a few miles from this studio. There is, well, let's see, Rosemary's already awake. I know that she's up. She's already had coffee. There's at least one, maybe two mugs with a little bit of coffee at the bottom because she started one, got to the bottom, set it down, did something, and then forgot where she put it. So she just grabbed another mug, filled that one up, drank 3/4 of it, and now that one is sitting there unfinished and not poured out and put in the sink
Well, that's
either.
your job. You should do that.
Well, I'm here. But I know what I'm doing when I get home. I'm going to find at least one, probably two coffee mugs with a quarter cup of coffee in each one.
Yeah, and then you go to like grab it off the counter, assuming it's empty, and then it just kind of it flies. I'm like, well, I thought you said you were done with it. I thought done meant you hit the bottom, but
I'm truly sorry.
I like this on the list. Women have 1 million black hair ties, and also,
oh my God,
and also no black hair ties.
Yeah, right.
They're everywhere until you need one.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and this is what I love. Every once in a while, when I'm dating, if I was dating a jealous person, I have a couple of times, they'd be like, whose hair tie is this? I don't know, one of your 1 million hair ties? I have 2 daughters. Perhaps it's the woman I'm banging on the side. I don't know. They're everywhere.
It was good when I had really, really long hair because I also needed hair ties, and so we were, it was kind of nice to, the couple that both wears ponytails together also, I don't know, doesn't lose as many hair ties together. I couldn't come up with a rhyme for ponytails together.
To be honest, I don't know where my hair tie is right now.
See?
I had my hair up earlier, and it might be in your studio, Steve.
That's why they sell them in garbage bag size bags, for like $5. They're I had the shifter on the truck there for a while in the center console area, and I would just stick it. Oh, there's another hair tie, and I just put it on there, and pretty soon, that's all you could grab was hair ties. It was just a big hair tie shifter.
I haven't used a proper wallet in years. I have my license and a few credit cards and my cash all just in a bundle held together by a hair tie in my front pocket. That's how I roll. And I've been doing that for decades. And but there have been times when I'm getting ready to go somewhere and I stand up and I walk over, and on the counter, I don't see my hair tie / wallet situation. I see loose credit cards, a license, and cash because Rosemary needed a hair tie, couldn't find one, and took my, in quotes, wallet and used it for herself. And I'm like, wait, so now I got to have all this stuff loose in my pocket? She goes, it's in your front pocket. What's the difference? And I'm like, oh my God. It's no different than, let's say I go grab 4 Oreo cookies and a glass of milk, and she goes, can I have one? And I'm like, but these are for
5.
Me. I know exactly how many I need. What do you mean? Why are you asking for one? I didn't think about it, but my body knows exactly how many I'm supposed to have.
You're going back for one more, mister.
Always. It's every time. But then, that's just something, man. The hair tie situation.
I missed the last one. I was on the phone lines with a woman, and we were just talking about all the gross stuff you guys do. So I just missed that whole last one. What was it?
We were just talking about
the hair ties.
Yeah, we're still on hair ties.
Or just hair. You got the long hair. It's everywhere. Okay. First of all, I've dug more rats, literally rats out of drains
than short pubic beard hairs everywhere. All right.
And I don't have mine aren't curly on my face. I don't have like a good man beard. It's just really kind of wispy hair. But I do, I do trim it with the old trimmer, and those little shards of hair are everywhere, and you can't. Yeah, I get that. But women, they have the long hair. It's literally everywhere. I love this on Reddit. A guy's toe was hurting, so he took his shoes off. You know what he found, Candace? A single female hair wrapped around it, cutting off the circulation. It's dangerous.
Awesome.
That beautiful head of your hair. Dangerous.
That reminds me of the baby years. When you have a baby in the house and they start crying and you can't figure out what it is, it's always like, well, just take all their clothes off and see if something's jabbing them. And it's usually like, a label on their onesie, or like on the little plastic thing that holds the price tag in place, and you cut it. Yeah. But sometimes half of it stays somehow in the clothing and the fabric. We had that happen. Connell was on it. We were on a subway in New York, and he was freaking out, screaming, like completely could not be satisfied. Got him home, took his clothes off, and he was being jabbed in his side by one of those little plastic things. And it was like, oh, sorry, everybody on the 2 train. That was our bad.
Our bad.
Didn't double check that thing was not there anymore. Going back real quick, Candace, the word I believe I heard you use, puby.
Yeah, because they're from your beard, I know, but they look like they're from somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. All right, just making sure I heard that correctly.
The upstairs pubes, not the downstairs pubes.
But it
could be either. You don't know.
I heard my friends say, girls talk about that a lot. And my friend Sadie said that there's this thing that you can buy, and it's like a bib, and it collects all the hair. So you can just thing, and it collects it.
Yeah, so I was recommended to put a towel down over the sink, then trim the beard onto the towel, carefully fold it together like some sort of complicated flag fold, and then take it outside and shake it out. Well, what I did as a dude was I did that, and I folded it up, but I don't have to run downstairs and out the door, shake it out like a carpet. I'll just set it to the side in a ball. The towel in a ball on the floor is that hair one, and I come in and I see her walking down the hallway with the towel. But it's not all balled up now. And I'm like, that's the hair towel. Oh, what? You left the hair with the hair in it? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, she's like, there's hair everywhere. I'm like, well, I mean, but you picked up the hair towel. So yeah, the rules, follow through all that stuff.
The secret to a healthy marriage or whatever, you're going to live with your another gender, whatever, you got to have separate bathrooms. I
was going to say separate homes, but yeah, separate bathrooms, separate bedrooms.
I'm going to need that.
That's right. Yeah. If you each have your own bathroom, boy, I walk into my bathroom, it's like my old dorm room. She walks into her bathroom, or sometimes I go in there because I need some TP or something. I'm like, look at this palace in here. It smells good. What are all those bottles? Are those flowers? Do you actually have real flowers in your bathroom? It's amazing. Well, let's put the bitching about each other on hold for a minute. We've got another list here. Marvels that make us think, who the heck figured that out? It's a fantastic list. Don't forget, at 8 o'clock, we're playing a game show, and we're giving away Judas Priest tickets, and our runner-up today gets April Wine tonight at the Medina. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, April the 5th. Good morning. That was U2 from the Joshua Tree, Where the Streets Have No Name. Okay, I was a total U2 jerk in the early 80s. I was on them from the first album, which meant I was cooler than you because I like U2 and you've never even heard of them. And I was that knucklehead in high school who identified myself solely by bands I knew that you'd never heard of yet, but they're going to be huge one day. Which leads me to 1987, the Joshua Tree is released. They become literally like almost overnight when that record hits the stores, the biggest band on earth. And that's when I'm like, yeah, I'm over them. I'm like singing, I'm waving their flag. Like Bono himself at Red Rocks for 4 albums. And on album number 5, when they finally coalesce and take over the world, that's when I'm too cool for U2. And so... And Joshua Tree was so big. I knew the records, of course. I knew all the songs. And it was, but I was like out. I tapped out, man. No, man, they're too big. It's too whatever it is. And I didn't really care. 13 years later, Connell Gorman is born, our son. And Rosemary, without going into any detail, had a very, very difficult and towards the end terrifying delivery experience. There was an emergency surgery performed after a long, brutal labor. It was one of those nightmare situations you hear about. Everybody's fine. Everybody was fine. But for a minute there, after whatever, for me, 36 hours without sleep and trying to make this happen and trying to be a supportive father who's not falling asleep while his wife is screaming in labor pain, I'm suddenly holding a brand new baby boy, and she is being tended to by the doctors. And they said, why don't you come over into this side room and we'll put her back together and you sit down in a chair. And so I'm like, okay, that's not at all what I was expecting my first hour of fatherhood to be. I sit down in like a lazy boy in a calm room. It's they got the lights dimmed. It's late afternoon, nice. New York City. Yeah, but I'm holding this baby boy that I've been waiting, 9 months for, 10 months for. And over the speaker, boom, here comes the Joshua Tree. That's what the guy put on. Oh. And that song, Where the Streets Have No Name, that song played as I'm staring at this 6-minute-old baby boy. And for the first hour of my fatherhood, I sat in a chair holding my baby, listening to the Joshua Tree in its entirety. And from that moment forward, that album if you play that album, if the whole record plays, like by the 5th or 6th song, I just am completely an emotional wreck to this day because it puts me right back in that chair. Music is really something, man. I mean, getting right through all of my late teen, early 20s pretense nonsense, put a baby in my arms and put on a record, and boy, that music makes a whole lot more sense all of a sudden.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? I remember after Taylor was born, for some reason I had to run home. So, putting mom back together, baby's all taken care of. Taylor and I have spent some moments together, cut the cord, all that good jazz. Now I have to dash back to Uptown. She was born at Abbott, downtown. So I have to dash back to Uptown to grab something and bring it back to the hospital quick. I jump in, fire it up, 92.5, just happens to be on, and I wasn't even working here yet. And Lay Lady Lay by Bob Dylan came on, and I hear that song today, and I'm a new dad all over again.
It's just so sweet,
isn't it?
So sweet.
Or I remember the day Candace was born.
Oh my God, Candace, your mom and I were so proud. And when
I cut the cord, it was a group effort. Weird,
man. We were like, we were just blasting those Blizzard of Oz outtakes, the B-sides,
Randy Rhoads. You're doing his thing.
You guys are just sweeting me out right now. I'll forgive the little pubic hairs if this is how you usually are.
That's what we got. Yeah. We have to have this side of us, or we're out in the wilderness. We're in the cold. Yeah, that's how we get our pubic beards in the house.
So my first hour as a dad, the Joshua Tree envelops me like a warm blanket, and it still works to this day. My first hour as a dad, the second time. When Marley was born a couple years later. Well, it wasn't even the first hour. It was the first person that spoke to me. She's born, much different situation. No stress, no drama, very easy. It all went according to plan. And by the way, our son Connell, when he was a baby, he would cry like this.
Cry like a man.
Even crying, it was like, excuse me, I'm hungry. And he was just the sweetest little bear on the planet. Marley is born, and this is how it went. The doctor's like, and it's a girl. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a girl. And then there's total silence for about 3 seconds, which felt like a minute and a half. Because we're like, wait, is the baby okay? Is there no? And then all she was doing was gathering, like a tsunami sucks all the water out away from the beach. Her lungs were filling with all the oxygen needed to break glass from the first scream.
The air raid siren went off.
That child was so loud from the jump. I mean, it was astonishing. After having had a quiet baby and toddler for 2 years, she came out like an air raid siren, seriously. And I'm like, holy crap. And she's delivered, and we're in the room, and that's like I said, no stress that time. It's all good. She's healthy. She looks great. She, count the fingers, count the toes. Is she breathing? All good. The immediate check is she's healthy. It's all good. They put her in Rosemary's Arms, and then I take her. And then the doctor that day put on music, same thing. And it was Three Little Birds by Bob Marley comes on.
Oh,
and it's like,
nice.
oh, this is awesome. And then the nurse comes over and goes, okay, Dad, just got to fill out the paperwork real quick, for the baby's name and sign here. And I write in for her name, Marley, which we had long decided if we have a girl, her name will be Marley. I write Marley Rose Gorman. And the nurse goes, okay, I can get another. We don't have to do this just now. We can wait. And I went, excuse me? And she goes, well, I mean, you should probably take some time and think about this. And I look at her, I go, what are you talking about? She goes, well, I know this song's so nice and it's a special moment, but I mean, naming a child Marley because the song's playing. And I went, that's got nothing to do with it. That's called a coincidence. And the nurse literally didn't believe me. She goes, no, I know you're. And this is what she said.
Dad.
This is what she said. This is Dr. Yamaguchi's delivery music, and you're not the first person to name a child Marley in here when this song's playing. And I looked at her and I went, hey, we chose this name a while ago. This has nothing to do with the fact that you're playing Bob Marley. Get out of my face. She was literally denying me the right to name my child what I wanted to name her. Or I should say what we wanted to name her.
Why don't you check with Mom first?
Yeah, and I'm like, and I did. I was like, babe, Marley Rose. She goes, yes, Marley Rose. I'm like, yeah, get out of here, lady. I mean, I guess it was nice of her to double check because, but what if it had been, what if they're rocking Flying High again? And I'm like, her name is Ozzy. I mean, I guess it could happen.
Or the Butthole Surfers.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? We just call her B. Well, I do. It's funny because I do call my nickname for Marley is B for reasons that make no sense at all. But it's just the letter B. Hey, B. And if it had been Butthole Surfers, I guess it would have been BS.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we don't. You got to be a little fair to the nurse, though. I bet she has experienced that. She gets a lot of guys who are like, I'm blanking on the name. What did we decide on? Maybe we really didn't decide on one. I can't remember. We'll just go with Marley. I mean, because it's a damn beautiful name anyway, and you just heard the tune. But all right, there you go.
Oh no, I totally get it. I mean, like I said, I give her credit because she probably, like she said, you're not the first person to go with Marley in here. I was like, all right, fair enough. But anyway, all that to say, where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. Things that blow our minds. More so than childbirth and rock music.
Yeah.
Things that blow our minds, and I do think about these things probably to an inordinate amount because it's not that hard to blow my mind. But right now, as I'm finishing my cup of coffee, if you ever think about coffee, just first of all, think about how much there is, how many beans there must be for all of the coffee shops in the world, all of the gas stations in the world, all of the diners. Just imagine how many billions of coffee beans a day are being processed to caffeinate the planet. How on earth did somebody figure out how to make coffee?
I guess you're right. You had to grind the bean. I mean,
there's a berry. Somebody ate the berry and went, this is disgusting. Hang on. Pull that seed out. Okay, I'll tell you what. Pull the seed out of the berry, light it on fire, grind it up, and then we'll pour hot water over it. I think this is going to work.
Brilliant.
How on earth?
Was it right away, or did it happen over centuries? Was there a lot of trial and error? Yeah, you're right. But thank God those crazy bastards figured it out. I think that a coffee shortage might bring the world to its into the streets rioting.
Coffee and cigarettes, two things that one of which I consume regularly, the other I don't.
Oh my gosh.
Candace.
I just Googled how did coffee begin. And it's an Ethiopian legend.
With his dog?
No, with his goat.
It
says that a man discovered this because the goat ate the berries from the tree and the goats became crazy, had crazy energy, and they didn't want to sleep at night. Goats.
I always heard it was a guy with his dog. There's a coffee shop in Nashville called Fido in honor of that guy's dog,
wrong.
But it's a goat,
It's a lie. It's a
Fido the goat.
Oh, fair enough.
All right. Well, thank you,
this
goats.
Is amazing.
I have a new appreciation for goats or people that own goats.
Could be.
I mean, it wasn't really on the goats. It was someone, a human being observing goat behavior. I would have just thought these animals are crazy. I'm going to shoot them and get cows.
I mean, I get it. It's not like there was. It's not like there were nine. You didn't have a 9-to-5 job back then. There wasn't a commute. You know what I mean? You had time in a day to figure stuff out. I get it.
You see the goats today? Going nuts. Well, they've been hanging out over by that berry tree over there.
I love goats so much. They're so cute.
It's not like that guy was like, these goats are freaking out, but I got to return that call, so I can't pay attention and think about what might have happened.
But he still didn't just start popping, because then I would have just started eating the beans, crunching on the beans. Yeah. Sometimes we get the coffee beans. You get those little dark chocolate covered ones, espresso beans. Yeah. Oh, those are addictive.
But think about cigarettes at the same time, or not at the same time, but in the same in the same time, meaning before I was born. Somebody looked at the tobacco leaf growing in the wild and went, I wonder what we can do with that. And if you've seen tobacco, the first thing they thought was that would make a fine loincloth. You know, they just were like, it's like they Blue Lagooned up some clothes out of tobacco. And then at some point they were like, I don't know, man, light it on fire, see what happens. And then, it's just mind-boggling to me how many things have happened. And then again, but of course, we're talking about, still nobody can figure out how the pyramids were made. So I guess coffee and tobacco are sort of secondary in the grand scheme of things.
And with tobacco, I mean, we all remember our first drag off a cigarette. It wasn't euphoria. It was, you coughed, you got a little sick to your stomach, you got lightheaded, but they powered through that. They're like, just keep smoking it. Just smoke about 20 of them over the course of a couple of days and get used to it. Yeah. Now do you see the effects? So they powered through all the crappy stuff and decided to stick with it. You're right. The fact that one, made it all the way through to what it was. Kind of mind-boggling. One of the marvels that boggles my mind still to this day, turntables, records. I just never could figure out as a kid how a piece of plastic, so you got Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love onto that piece of plastic, those grooves just going around there. And then I set a little piece of metal on it with just a fine little needle, and it comes out of my speakers. Whole Lotta Love comes out of my speakers.
Yeah, it's completely
insane. Still today,
to
I don't understand the technology.
I've never understood it. And in fact, even more mind-blowing to me, before I had a car with Bluetooth, I had a car that still had a cassette player, and I had a cassette that you would put in, and it had a wire that came out, and you'd plug that wire into your phone, and then you could play the music of your phone over your car stereo through the cassette.
Wow.
This is going back 15 or 16 years, or 17 or 18 years. The first time I saw that, I literally thought that was more impressive than the moon landing. I was like, what on earth? What are the people at Apple going to come up with next? Everything blows my mind. Candace, do we have a caller or not? I'm getting mixed signals here.
Yeah, we do.
Who we got?
Kim from Gaylord.
Kim, good morning.
Hi. I agree. I agree with Candace. I read it somewhere, but the goats I think it was the early Dark Ages, were noted for eating the berries off these wonderful little bushes, and they stayed up all night, and the monks noticed it and started brewing coffee off of it.
Hell yeah!
Fair enough.
Confirmed.
What could go wrong when monks and goats get together?
It kept them all awake so they could start writing the Bible again.
I guess so. Wow. All right, Kim. Kim, have you had any coffee today?
No, I'm drinking Diet Pepsi Zero, so I'm getting my caffeine that way.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
One way or another.
So I was getting okay. Fair enough. Well, thank you for the call and for the clarification. We appreciate you listening.
All right. Well,
okay.
Since we stepped back to coffee, what about that civet cat? All right, I get it. The goats ate it. They started going nuts. They're like, we're going to do something with that bean. We're going to make that work for us. But what about that civet cat coffee that goes for like $200 a pound or something like that? And the civet cats eat it. They poop it out, and then we make coffee out of it. I'm looking at it right now on Amazon, $114 for a can. Okay, the civet cat coffee. Now, who decided after it came out of a cat's ass that it should be consumed? That's what I'd like to know.
I tell you who did. A dog. Chauncey would drink that coffee right. He would eat those beans whole right now. You come up with, hey, listen, the first person who invents a dog treat that tastes like cat poop is going to be a billionaire. Man, you can't keep a dog out of that litter box.
Disgusting.
I know. Gigi would kill to get near Milo's litter box, and you know it and I know it.
That's love
and
right there. And
you let that dog lick your face. Way to go, Candace.
Mm-hmm. It's cleaner than the human's mouth. I don't know. I'm not I'm not eating poop.
How about this? How about the fact that there's an eclipse coming up on Monday, right?
Yeah.
How about the fact that people knew when eclipses were coming hundreds of years ago? How about the fact that people like sailors in the many hundreds of years ago, they were navigating by using the stars. I'm like, how? How does anybody know how anything works? I'm completely a man of my time. I need to look at a phone to figure out anything.
I can pick out the Big Dipper and probably the Little Dipper, but we've been watching Shogun, and it's and that always blows my mind. Back there in the 15th and 16th century, any time before recent computers and navigation and satellites, that you got on a wooden boat that wasn't very big with a bunch of other guys at the time, and you just looked at this vastness, had no idea what was out there, and said, let's just sail out into that. I'll tell you what, we'll just take a peek at the stars every once in a while so that we don't get lost. Of course, a lot of them did. Ask Columbus.
Yeah, no, it's completely insane. The thing that blew my mind, I loved in that, and I'm also watching Shogun. I think the show is incredible.
Yeah.
How about the fact that the show starts, it's the year 1600, and this English guy sailing a Dutch ship finds Japan. And the whole point is because it was a hidden empire. The Portuguese had been going there for 100 years and not shared information with the rest of Europe. So people for a full century were like, I think the Portuguese know about some place, but we don't know how to find it. I mean, they had it to themselves. Like, it's just incredible. Like, I understand a Portuguese ship found Japan one day. How did they find it again?
Right,
because
exactly.
the first one had to be luck. I don't get it, man.
Maps, the whole thing. All right, let's give something away. We've got to slow things down here. Our minds are just spinning right now. We're going to slow things down. We're giving away Judas Priest.
Hang on. You know what, Zep? I'm going to cut you right there.
You got a good
Do it.
caller.
Candace just gave me a look like, no, by God, we need this phone call first. So
let's do it.
So let's do it. Who's on the horn?
Andy from Minneapolis.
Andy, what's up, brother?
Hey, you shouldn't get too bent out of shape with that nurse, because as a pediatrician, you'd be surprised how many people pick their kid's name at the last minute in the delivery room.
Wow. Any really weird ones where you're like, what were you thinking there? That you might have tried to talk them out of it?
Two of them come to mind. Number one is meconium.
No way.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No, they don't know what it means, but they heard the name somewhere in the delivery room, so they meconium is a good name.
What is it?
Oh, I know what meconium is.
I don't.
Tell him, Steve.
That's the first poop of a newborn. Like,
yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of times it happens like during delivery and can be problematic for the mom. Yeah,
not good. Yeah, not good for the baby.
Oh,
my other favorite
listen, I read what to expect when you're expecting, and I wish I hadn't, because I retained way too much information.
My other favorite is the juxtaposition, Javina.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
really?
That kid's going to get a ribbing in third grade, yeah.
Holy smokes.
That kid will grow up tough as hell.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Or not grow up at all.
Javina Meconium Gorman. The thing that we could have done
there
that.
There we go. See?
That is too
Marley,
much.
what were you thinking?
Golly. Unbelievable. That is definitely a call worth holding on for. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Have a good day, guys.
Oh, my God. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Crying.
Meconium.
I'm crying right now. That's Meconium and Javina?
Javina.
Javina Meconium Gorman. Is it too late to go back for a third?
I say Javina.
Javina. All right. Now we can give away some Judas Priest tickets.
Yes.
Let's collect ourselves here. We'll need a couple of callers. 651-989-ROCK. Callers 9 and 2. Giving away Judas Priest tickets. Our runner-up today, April Wine, tonight at the Medina. Forbes has just released their list of the richest people in the world. So we're going to keep it simple this morning. Who's got more money? We'll give you a couple of comparable people in their industry, and you simply tell us who has more money. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. And I ain't tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, April 5th. Good morning. The weekend is upon us.
Are you going to say Monday?
Wanted to. Boy, I did. Didn't you just feel that one coming, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo, it's Friday, baby. April the 5th. On this day in 1983, I saw REM open for the English Beat. Honestly, it was one of the most important nights of my life as a music fan. It was the night I walked out of a concert for the first time and said, by God, I'm going to do that. It was making me crazy how much I wanted to play music.
Yeah.
And ever since that night, April 5th has leapt off the calendar. Anytime I see it, I go, oh, April 5th. Nice, 1983. I had mononucleosis. I should not have been in public. I didn't care. I didn't care at all. I was not going to miss that show.
No, I think I told the story of Dad sneaking me out of the hospital when I had pneumonia for the Deer opener. There's just some things you're not going to miss, and or the Little League story when we were talking about baseball memories. Me barfing my guts out at a Little League game through my catcher's mask on the home plate there because no way I was going to tell Mom I wasn't feeling good. We have a baseball game today for crying out loud.
Yeah,
you got to power through. That's good stuff.
I did power through. It was the night after, and as this time of year is always about college basketball. So April 4th, I'm pretty sure it was back-to-back nights, you had North Carolina State Wolfpack beating Houston for the men's championship, the greatest upset in NCAA championship history, followed by REM opening for the English Beat. And boy, that was a heck of a week for me. A very heady week for the senior in high school, Steve Gorman. So, like I said, I big concerts like that, a few of them, I do remember the dates. Like as a kid going to, the first time I saw the English Beat was opening for the Police the year before on my birthday, August 17. That's an easy one to remember. Yeah. But so many of those dates every year on the calendar. Still, I'll see it and go, oh yeah, this is when I saw Heart at Rupp Arena. Oh yeah, that's when I saw whatever show it was.
Your brain has survived being a rock star for pretty well. I can't remember dates. I mean, I can kind of almost remember the years, but to narrow it down to a day, it would have to be on my birthday or something significant like my child being born. But speaking of on this day, I just happened to read this little fun fact. You remember this one, and you've brought it up on the show before because my lovely Maria, her son graduated from Purdue, Brandon. So they're in Phoenix for the Final Four. On this day in 1993, Chris Webber.
Oh, I know, baby.
Called for a timeout.
Oh, I know. I know very clearly. Yeah,
I remember watching that game. And even there was kind of, you're watching it because it's coming down to the end of the game. Now you're really focused on what's happening. And he called a timeout. And I remember like 5 of us sitting on the floor in the living room looking at each other going, do they have a timeout? I don't think they have a timeout. Oh, what a boner. I
was in Providence, Rhode Island. I walked off stage from a gig. Our T-shirt guy had said, he came to me during the encore break and he goes, I said, hey man, you got to find, this was before you just assumed thered be a TV with cable at a venue. And there was not one backstage at this theater. And I said to our T-shirt guy, he doesn't actually sell. He's the merch guy for the tour, so he's not out in the house selling. I said, hey, man, find a bar, find a TV somewhere with that game on so we can see the end of the game. We walk off stage at, 10:55 p.m. Eastern. And he's standing there waiting for me. He goes, come on, 1 block. We got to run. It's cold. It's rainy. It's Providence, Rhode Island in early April. And I'm running up the street, towel on my sweaty head. I mean, I'm 1 minute off the stage. And I run into this bar. And there's 10 minutes left in the game. So I watched the last 10 minutes in a bar that was a Tar Heel bar. It was nothing but North Carolina fans. And I run in there as the one Michigan fan in the room. And man, when that whole thing went down and he called that timeout and everybody figured out what happened, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Kidding me.
And boy, it's one of the great, I really do believe it's one of the great woulda, coulda, shouldas of all time. Chris, that impacted Chris Webber's pro career. He never got over that. That was the biggest mistake he ever made. And in crunch time as a pro, he always faltered.
Yeah, I suppose that just stuck in the back of his mind. Some people just can't shake it off. We saw that. You'd see that, at the major league level or the professional level. Sometimes, that something got in their head. Chuck Knobloch, we were talking about the 91 Twins, and he was Rookie of the Year and won a hell of a second baseman. And then just one day he couldn't get the ball to first.
Oh, that's right. He got the yips. I forgot about that.
Got the yips, yeah, for sure. And it never really shook it. Ended up in a trade, and I don't really remember how his career even wrapped up anyway.
As Atlanta residents, of course, we all watch that World Series very closely. My wife, Rosemary, during one of those games, she literally said, she walked through and, on the screen it says Chuck Knobloch, and she just glanced up and she didn't have her glasses on. She goes, is that guy's name Cider? She thought it was like as an apple cider. She goes, Cider Knobloch, and for the rest of his career in our house, he was Cider Knobloch.
Good old Knobloch. Nabla.
Yeah, that's it. That's a little strange. But anyway, there you have it. There's a nice little note for you. Chuck Knobloch, wherever you are, we still call you Cider in my house.
Yeah, and, delivered a World Series as part of the key component of that team. And, I mean, he and... I'm trying to remember other names. We shouldn't do that. We'll get along to the game show. I don't have a big flowery introduction. We don't have our boy here with us today, so we're limping along when it comes to the game show. But we've cooked up a little something. Forbes has just released its list of the richest people on the planet. So we've paired them up, comparable people, we think, artists, entertainers, sports heroes, and you're going to tell us who has more money. We just need a couple of contestants.
I like it. Candace, who we got?
All right, let's start with Michael from Hastings.
Michael, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, we're great on this end, brother. How's your day? Everything all right? You ready to rock some, what are we looking for? Judas Priest tickets here.
Judas Priest tickets, yeah.
Nice. You a Judas Priest fan?
Absolutely, yes. Let's go.
Great. He's ready.
Michael.
Let's let her rip.
All right, then, Michael, tell me who has more money, Steven Spielberg or George Lucas?
I'm going to go with Spielberg.
Actually, it's George Lucas. Spielberg at $4.8 billion. George Lucas at $5.5 billion. He had that star. He sold Star Wars off to Disney, I think, and really cashed in. Not that Steven's doing too bad. All right, that's all right. We've got 4 more to go here for you, Michael. Bono, U2, or Bruce Springsteen. Who has more money?
I'm going to go with the boss.
Man, Bono by just a mere $50 million at $700 million. Springsteen, I would have thought selling the catalog, but sitting right there at $650 million. These are from Forbes.
Wow!
So these are the latest numbers, but that's all right. Still have 3 more to go, and these are a flip of the coin. By the way, there are 10 of these. I had 2 right. So
Springsteen inducted U2 into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They had the same agent. U2's first American tour. The boss of all people was one of their biggest backers from day one. He was telling everybody, this is the band. Yeah. And then that little upstart Bono surpassed him on the wealth list. What a talk about not showing any appreciation.
Yeah, right. Maybe you can kick him a few million. All right, Michael, here we go. Get back on track here. Who has more money, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan by a bunch, $3.2 billion to LeBron James' paltry $1.2 billion.
He's only got $1.2 billion.
Loser.
Wow.
All right, you're on the board. Very nice. Couple more here for you, Michael. John Bon Jovi or Gene Simmons? Who has more money?
I'm going to go with Gene Simmons.
Gosh darn it. John Bon Jovi by $10 million.
Come on.
$410 million. Now, listen, Forbes just released this. Now we found out the Kiss sold Kiss, I guess, and really cashed in. So this may have flip-flopped here, but not according to the Forbes list, which is what we're going by this morning. John Bon Jovi, $410 million. Gino at $400 million.
Wow.
All right, let's get this last one. We're going to go local here for you, Michael. Glenn Taylor, I think still owner of the Timberwolves, or Ziggy Wolf, co-owner of the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm going to go with Glenn Taylor.
Yeah, $2.9 billion to Ziggy's $1.3 billion. That's a couple on the board there for you, and these are a flip of the coin. So I think you're sitting all right there, Michael.
Nice job, Michael. So Glenn's got more, but which team would you rather own? I think we all know the answer to that one.
Yeah, right, exactly.
One of those two is printing money every day, no matter what. All right, Michael, 2 for 5, I should say.
Yes, sir.
This is a tough game. I get it why you only got 2 out of 10, Zep. Who's caller number 2, Candace?
We have Scott from Chisago City.
Scott, good morning, sir.
Top of the morning to you, and what a segue to your game, having stories about fails on different games. I'm a little nervous.
All right, well, you need 3 to win this sucker, 2 for the tie. And, Steve, you might want to bail me out on the tiebreaker if we need it again. That's something I forgot this morning. All right, we'll jump in here. Here we go. Who has more money, Beyonce or Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton.
Yeah, she does. $650 million. I thought there might even be more than that, but she gives a lot of it away to Beyonce's $500 million. All right, there you go. That's a strong start.
Gets by day to day.
On her looks. All right, here we go. Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus. Who has more money?
Tiger Woods.
Yeah, $1.3 billion to Jack Nicklaus's $400 million. He's so Jack's owns so many courses. I know he's designed a lot of them, but he also owns several. That's one I got right though. So you're 2 for 2. Look at you go. Here's one for Candace. You answer though. Ozzy or Axl Rose? Who has more money?
Has to be Ozzy.
Ozzy does have more money, just barely. $220 million to Axl's $200 million. He's got him by a cool $20 million. Let's play it out here. Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes?
Ooh. Has to be Tom Brady.
Yeah, this one's not even close. $412 million for Tom, the GOAT, and Patrick Mahomes chasing him with just a mere $70 million. That number will increase exponentially. All right, now one more, man. You're looking at running the table here. A trounce. Chris Rock or Carrot Top? Who has more money?
We'll go with The Rock, Chris Rock.
No, Carrot Top does by $10 million.
Wow.
Must be those Vegas shows, that residency. He's packing it away, that Carrot Top, at $70 million. Chris Rock with $60 million. We have ourselves a winner. Man, you're going to Judas Priest, and I don't even have the date here in front of me, but I think that sucker's coming up here. And then, Michael, you've got the runner-up. That's tonight, the Medina, April Wine. I saw April Wine at the Medina, and it's kick-ass. It's just a great venue. And, boy, April Wine starts cranking out the tunes. You're like, oh, that's another one I forgot about. Roller, there's another one. If you see,
my girl.
Yeah, Gypsy Queen.
Yeah. Hey, just between you and me, Candace, stop singing.
What the heck?
Sorry, I was just trying to figure out a way to work in just between you and me.
April Wine is actually a bomb show.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it kicked ass. I think I went there with someone. I was like, all right, I'll go check out April Wine. Why not? I like that Nature of the Beast cassette. It looked pretty badass in the cassette holder, on stage with the beast head. But, then they just kept playing. First of all, they're damn good and they're loud. And then you're like, oh, yeah, that one. Oh, and there's another one. Oh, yeah, and that one. Yeah, good stuff.
Also, the only band any of us could ever name from Nova Scotia.
That's right. I always say Canada, but they're from Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
neck of the woods.
That's it. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing. Well done. Enjoy the gigs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was surprised. Okay, so you said Axl has $200 million. So he's almost as wealthy as Ozzy. Back in the day, I heard a story, and then it was confirmed by several people behind the scenes. Axl may have more money or almost as much as Ozzy, but he's not the wealthiest member of Guns N' Roses.
No, he's not?
No. Your boy Duff McKagan, bassist of Guns N' Roses. I'll try to make it. Well, it's a short story. I can make it real short. The song "Patience." You're familiar with "Patience" from the EP Lies. Yeah. That song was a big hit. He wrote it with Axl, so his name was on that song. He was getting a lot of money from it at the time, and apparently, on a night, he was at a bar. I believe he was in Chicago, 1989 or 1990, and he bumped into an old high school friend from Seattle. Duff is from Seattle. Came out of that scene that all the grunge guys, like they were all in the same high school kind of bands. He moved to L.A. And found Guns N' Roses when some of the guys he was rocking with stayed in Seattle. Duff bumps into an old buddy from high school. Just runs into him in a bar. Hey, dude, what have you been up to? Oh, my God, what are you doing? I'm in Guns N' Roses. Oh, that's right. Congratulations. What do you do? I'm an investment guy. I'm in tech stocks. And this is in, like, again, 89 or 90. And Duff said, what do you mean? He goes, well, I invest people's money. I'm in NASDAQ, blah, blah, blah. And Duff said, wait, if I give you some money, you know where to put it. And the kid said, yes, I do. And Duff sent him, apparently, a lot of money. Like a couple of royalty checks came.
That's gutsy.
And he just sent it to his old high school buddy because he said, who better to trust than a kid I played high school basketball with? The dude put Duff's money. He put all of Duff's money into Microsoft, Starbucks, Yahoo, all that stuff in the 90s that nobody had ever heard of. So when Duff left Guns N' Roses in like 1995, he left the band and he was like, I got to, whatever happened with all that money I gave my friend, he was sitting on like $150 million.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah. He literally put his money into all the tech stuff and Starbucks. All the Silicon Valley and Seattle stuff, Microsoft, Starbucks, and the like. And so, and go figure. So then the bass player is sitting there, and I said something. I was talking to one of the guys in that camp. I shouldn't name names, and he said, "Well, I knew Duff was doing well when he had a birthday in Paris, and he just rented his own 757 to fly us all over for a party." Wow, that's a good sign. That's a healthy indication of a well vested portfolio.
No kidding. I'm just thinking if I had a high school buddy that I would have trusted with a lot of money that I just came into, he did well. I'm not sure I had that buddy.
I did. I had a guy, looking back, it would have been a great thing. My buddy David was a big, very successful investor, financial dude. And man, if you could go back in time, it's like, you're like, if I had the guts to ask that girl out or whatever. And I'm like, no, I would have just called my buddy Dave and said, hey, man, what's going on with all these tech companies I'm hearing about? Might have been a game changer.
Yeah, might have been a game changer. Although I did have a buddy from high school I decided to use as a realtor. He's like, a realtor. I'm like, well, you can't screw that up. Of course, it was 2008. Maybe we should move along. I don't like that story anymore. New study, Steve and Candace, says that couples who drink together... We'll tell you when we get back at 8:27. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, April the 5th. About an hour from right now, the Sklar brothers will join us in studio. They are at Acme this weekend. If you are unfamiliar with the Sklar brothers, good God, those dudes are funny. They put on a hell of a show, and if you're looking for something to do tonight or tomorrow night, you could do a whole lot worse than hitting Acme to hang out with the Sklar brothers themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I love those guys. I mean, it's now, are they twins?
They are.
They are twins. All right. Yeah, because they've got that twin thing going on, especially when I'm listening to them and I'm not at, Acme watching them. If I'm not watching the stand-up, I'm listening to them. It's indistinguishable. It sounds like a guy having a conversation with himself. Hilarious guy. Yeah,
pretty much. Randy and Jason Sklar here in studio in about an hour. They're at Acme tonight and tomorrow night. The early shows are sold out, 9:30 both nights. A few tickets remain. Definitely more than worth your while. We just heard the Beatles' Revolution. John Lennon getting some screaming done. Man, is that the best scream in rock and roll history? Probably, arguably. Certainly on the short list.
Oh, yeah. Paul McCartney had a few of them, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Darling. Is that the one I'm thinking of where he really, or
that's where
Helter
he was trying to, it's funny because he said he wrote Oh, Darling and thought, this is a great song for John, but I want to do it my way. But just imagine John doing Oh, Darling. That would have been phenomenal. Yeah. I'm sure some douchebag on AI right now is trying to make it happen. But Revolution, the first B-side, the first single released under the Beatles' own label, Apple Records, Revolution was the B-side because Paul was like, well, what about this one? It's called Hey Jude. As always, especially in the second half of their career, when John would come in with something great, Paul would go, I got something a little bit better. Ooh, man. What's it like to write a song like Revolution and it's like, no, sorry, that's not the single. It's going to be this one.
Right.
Oh, my God.
They had a lot of those A-B sides that were, indistinguishable.
Completely insane. And the coolest thing about the Beatles is, of course, they did not put their singles on the albums. They were like, this is different worlds. And the singles were more, they cared way more about the singles, the 4 two-sided singles they released every year than the 2 albums they released every year. John and Paul, the greatest songwriting duo in rock history, in my humble opinion. It wasn't meant to last forever. Because how could those two creative minds constantly? How could they have stood it? They needed to go out and do their own things. That happens. However, for a lot of couples that want to stay together, you don't have to write songs like Lennon and McCartney, but it does help if you drink together.
It helps.
New study suggests similar drinking habits also lends itself to a happier marriage. Drinking with your partner may very well be the key to a longer life and that's right, happier marriage.
Similar being the key word there.
Yes, medical journal, The Gerontologist, has got a new study. They are examining the way drinking behaviors impact mortality among opposite-sex spouses. The results are very promising for you and your husband and or wife. If you guys, if you're... Basically, it's this. If you're on the same page, like you both, let's have a nightcap. Let's go for a drive and find a pub and have a couple beers. Let's open that great bottle of wine. If you are simpatico with how and when and how much you drink, it's a real strong indicator that you're going to stay together and be happier longer. As long as it's, again, simpatico. One person who has a drink only on Friday nights is not going to last long with someone who's belting every night. You know what I mean?
Right. I've noticed that in my life. Some examples, I think, probably. But yeah, you're right. You can't get too far out in front of the other one. But, that is, you'll find yourself in a relationship often where, the relationship starts. It's the honeymoon period. Everyone's having fun. You're doing all sorts of things and you're getting drunk together. Mm-hmm. And then, it gets a bit more domestic. Things calm down and suddenly the other person's not drinking. And you're like, what? Are we getting drunk tonight? We're not getting drunk tonight? Or I'm getting drunk. And no, that's a recipe for disaster. So, yeah, either hand in hand or I guess you got to sober up or go your separate ways. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it really does. I spent a little bit of time, early relationship in my life. I was probably 24 and this woman was 28, which to me at the time was like, oh my God, that's a much older woman. And check this out. She was divorced. I mean, I felt like Richie Cunningham in that episode of Happy Days where he was talking to a divorce. So, but, again, she was 28. I look at a 28-year-old now like they're a kid. But she was already, she wasn't like, I don't drink. She was already sober. Like, no, I can't drink. And we hit it off. We got along great. We had a lot of fun together. But then at some point I did realize, like, this can't be fun for her to just watch me get hammered.
Come on, you're very entertaining when you're drunk.
I'm a happy drinker. That's true.
Right.
I don't go dark when I drink. I go light, and then to sleep. It's a nice mix.
Still, it's a different mood altogether.
It's entirely
different. Like when you get to the party, you couldn't go out with your friends, but you made it to the after party. Maybe you're working the late night shift on the radio, and you get to the after party and you're sober and everyone else is drunk. Now I'm a quick catcher-upper. I can catch up with you real quick, but sometimes I just think to myself, and I just turn around and leave. I don't tell anyone. I just leave. I'm like, you know what? The mood's already after party, pretty crazy. Everybody's being really loud. You walk in, they run up to you, zap, get right in your face, and you're like, I'm not going to catch up tonight. It's kind of like that, It's just, they're in a great mood. I'm in a great mood, but it's, they're drunk and I'm not.
That's life on tour, because you're, like when you're on the road in a band, it's Wednesday night for you, which is another work night, and for your friends who come out, it's their one night of the month to rage. And it's like, yeah, dude, I got to do this again tomorrow in Des Moines, and they're like, come on, man, this is great. And it takes a while before you finally figure out, like, you just got to say no, because it's like you're on the slow burn plan because again, you're doing this every night for the next 6 months. All your buddies, your brother, whoever it is that comes out. I mean, it's like, man, I've been waiting all month for this. And I'm like, you have? Okay, cool. Good luck. Wow, man.
Watch me at the office here.
Yeah, no kidding. That's it. Like, yeah, this is kind of what I got to do again and again and again. So anyway, drinking with your mate is a good plan. Candace, I mean, you and your mystery man, you guys on the same page?
Yeah, I'm a little younger. Not too much of an age difference, but definitely he's more been there, done that. You know, and I will go out more, but as far as like the amount of drinking, we're on the same page.
All right, well, that's a good sign.
But I like to go out more.
You like to go out more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's guys get really lazy really fast in a relationship. I've done that too. Yeah, where you're dating someone, especially a younger woman, or just a younger person, and they just want to rock and roll all night and party every day.
Man. Woo!
Yeah,
Let's go.
And that happens very quickly. I don't know when it was, but because I stayed at the party pretty late. But yeah, that happens very quickly, and all of a sudden it turns off. And if the other person's still on, you become very boring and sedate to them. So you try and force it a couple of times. Yeah.
Well, I have a theory with just about every dude I know who because that is what happens, and it's not conscious but subconscious. There's a subconscious. Your subconscious is aware of the fact that going out now is different, because in the old days, to go out, there was a chance, hey, who knows who I'll meet? That's no longer on the table. And so therefore, your subconscious is like, I don't know, man. I think I do want to watch this docuseries about piranha. I don't know. I mean, I never really thought too much about Amazon basin freshwater fish, but suddenly that seems more interesting than going out to the club.
I got my boots off, and the recliner's all the way back. And did you say a documentary about fish? I'm in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just never know when fish are going to become the coolest thing in your day.
Are you referring to the fish doorbell? I love this, man.
I know you're excited about the fish doorbell. Lay it
first
on
of all,
us. Explain what this is.
I'm embarrassed, first of all. This is not something that I would normally just admit to anyone, but I think we all get it. That's why we have fish tanks, right? That's why they're there in the doctor's office, in the lobby. We watch them. It's peaceful. We go out to the state fair, and we just stand over there at the DNR big fish pond, and we just, look at that one. Oh, my God, there's another one of them. Oh, that one looks like that one. So we like to watch fish. Well, this is happening, and where is this? Over in one of the Nordic, the Netherlands. So they have one of these deals where the fish have to get upstream, but it's got a lock in it, so a boat lock, and the fish can't get through the boat lock. So they put a fish door in there, much like you might put a cat door in or a little doggy door or something like that. They put a fish door in so these fish can travel up through this boat lock and spawn their eggs and continue to exist. Everybody wants the fish so they put it in there.
That makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't open automatically. I don't know if they just don't have the technology for it or the fish don't respond to it, but the door does not open automatically. It has to be manually opened for each fish that comes along. And it's not like a salmon spawn where they're just like in a rush for a couple of months. They're just kind of creeping along here. And then they open up the door and someone goes through. Well, rather than pay someone to sit there and do that monotonous job, they've turned it over to people like myself. In other words, you can just jump online if you're in the Netherlands, sign up for the fish doorbell, and they will allow you to sit there and stare at your computer screen. And when a fish approaches, you push the button and the door opens and the fish goes through, and then the door closes, and then you wait for the next fish. I'm embarrassed to say I would do this for hours and hours and hours.
So you're responsible for this species continuing.
Yeah.
You're literally opening the door for procreation amongst these fish.
Absolutely. Here's a little of the guy that runs the program.
It's finally fish doorbell season again, which is the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, I think you could describe them as horny fish. They've got one thing on their minds.
The thrill you get letting a fish through is unparalleled.
See?
Wow. Man,
the fish door. You know what, ladies? If you're worried about the guys going out and philandering around, it's probably not the problem because we're not. We're just going out and pretending like we are, something like that. But yeah, get them the fish doorbell. Now we can't do this here in the United States. I already tried to sign up. You have to be. I know, right? They're hogging all the fun for themselves. But DNR, if you've got something out here like a fish release program, something the equivalent of it. Well, look at the eagle's nest. They'll put a camera on an eagle's nest here in Minnesota, or in a bear den here in Minnesota. They're hibernating. They're sleeping for several months up in the north. They're just sacked out, but people will get on there and just watch them every day.
Sure.
Look, you just made a little snort, a cute little bear snort. That's fun. Or the eagles, the little hatchlings. So yeah, the fish doorbell, you actually have a purpose. for doing this. Yeah,
and just think about. I'm just picturing all the Dutch stoners just watching that thing and just like.
I know it.
Sure, I think I kept the fish. I kept the fish alive. I was smoking the weed, and then. Boy, the Dutch accent's tough. I should stop.
I think you were going Swedish chef there,
yeah,
but close enough. We don't know any better. We don't know. It's all there together up there in the north of Europe.
Boy, they got but God bless the Dutch. I mean, they've been living under sea level for centuries now. They've figured out that whole canal system.
Yeah, they did.
Between that and the tulips and the wooden shoes, I'm a big fan. Not to mention, Johan Cruyff and whatnot. So check this out. There's a dude named Rick Slayman. He's 62 years old, and he left the hospital on Wednesday. He was at Massachusetts General Hospital, and he spent 2 weeks there after surgery, wherein he received a genetically edited pig kidney. He needed a kidney, and he now has one courtesy of a pig whose kidney was genetically edited. What does that mean? They remove the pig genes from a kidney. They insert human genes to lessen the probability of the body rejecting the animal's organ. 2 weeks in, his body has fully embraced this kidney as far as they can tell. He says it's doing all the kidney's functions are operating. It's producing urine. It's removing waste products from the blood. It's carrying out all of the key things. The man himself, Rick Slayman, says, I have the cleanest bill of health I've had in a long time.
That's wild.
That is wild right there.
Way to go, science. I mean, because they've been doing the pig organs for a while, but they haven't quite taken. Now they figured out how to genetically re-engineer them with some human cells, and bing, bang, boom. Well, how long ago was this? Yeah, I would be scared as hell, but I wonder how far into the process he is now.
The surgery was 2 weeks Wednesday, so 2 weeks and 2 days, and he's still kicking.
Nice.
I remember in the 80s, there was a baboon heart was placed into a young woman, a young girl. They were a little baby needed a heart transplant, and they couldn't find one, and they tried a baboon heart. Didn't last very long. It was a big story. Her name was Baby Faye, and Baby Faye got the world's first baboon heart.
I remember.
And of course, my college cover band that used to play parties around campus, we changed our name every gig, which is a terrible way to build a following, but it made fun. It was fun at the time. We did perform a show as Baby Faye and the Heartless Baboons.
That's brilliant.
Just to let you know, we had our thumb on the pulse, is what I'm trying to say.
You sure did. I thought you were going with an Untamed Heart reference there when you brought it up, because that was Christian Slater and Marissa Tomei.
Oh, right.
And he had received a baboon heart, I believe, was the whole... the plot line of the movie, Untamed Heart. Well, that was shot in Minneapolis. In fact, she was living in Minneapolis. I forget the name of the character, but she lived in Minneapolis. A lot of that was shot in Minneapolis. Used to be a diner that she worked at. I don't think it's open anymore. It's an apartment building, but I thought you were going down that path. But yeah, it was that whole baboon. It was Baby Faye that kind of inspired a writer to sit down and turn it into a romance.
All the creatives, all the real artists were inspired by Baby Faye. That screenwriter, me, you know how it goes. Hey,
Suzanne Vega, I think, had the big song in there, Tom's Diner, on that movie.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Okay, fair enough. I met Suzanne Vega once, and I loved her first album, and then the follow-up, and then there was the big hit, Luca, I believe. My name is Luca. I live on the second floor.
I know. Wasn't he abused? It was such a chirpy tune, and she's so...
Fun pop song about a kid getting his ass kicked at home every night. Or as my cousin used to sing, I chew bazooka. But
which is impossible to do if anyone's ever tried to chew a piece of bazooka bubble gum.
If you want to see the dentist real fast, throw a hunk of bazooka in there. You'll chip a tooth with the best of them
in a hurry.
I met Suzanne Vega once, and I just had this thing in my head. She's probably like way too cool, West Village art scene, folk scene, and she was just the sweetest person ever. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. What's going on? Just chatty, super bright,
sweet.
Yeah, she was awesome. I was like, man, I thought you were going to be too cool, and now it turns out I like you even more. There's a story from a few years ago, and I know you guys talked about it on this show. I talked about it on every radio show ever. It comes up. Remember the funeral in Ireland where the guy, a gentleman who knew he was terminally ill, recorded himself a tape that would be played at his funeral, and it was his voice from the casket going, "I'm still alive, let me out." Remember that whole story? As they're putting this guy in the ground, his adult children are just howling with laughter because they placed a speaker so that it sounded like he was knocking on the inside of his casket. That's good old Irish humor.
Oh, that's brilliant.
You got to appreciate it. Well, a woman in the UK this week has joined the list of "you got to be kidding me's." A 68-year-old woman who just passed from breast cancer, her dying wish, and it happened, was to have someone show up at her funeral dressed as the Grim Reaper. And they walked around pointing to people saying, "You're next."
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm stealing this.
It's really funny. This was her dying wish. And it was meant to be funny, of course. The family did warn people ahead of time, like, "Hey, listen, this is what she wanted, and we're going to see to it that it happens."
You don't want the great aunt, cacking off when she sees the Grim Reaper come in,
Well, there were people who decided not to attend the service because they were so freaked out by the prospect. The woman's daughter said to the BBC, "If you research the Grim Reaper, he transports the soul to wherever it's going. So he's not actually damning you to hell. He's not a bad person. My mom would love the attention her funeral is getting. It just shows her personality and sense of humor." Yeah, I mean, why not, man? Go for it. You know that you're going to be, that it's your time is coming. Have some fun with it, or at least let the people you're leaving behind have some fun with it. And you take it. There's a photo in this article of the woman herself, and she just looks like a hoot. Good gal. I like it.
Yeah, I love it. I want to do something like that.
Right. I love that whole New Orleans. Let's celebrate.
Yeah,
let's make this a celebration. I definitely, have instructed the kids who won't do anything that I've asked them to do. But one of the ideas was, I'm like, there's going to be booze there. Yep. There's going to be a band there, right? And at some point, you're going to walk up, Taylor, slam the coffin lid shut, jump up on it like a surfboard, and say, "Let's do this." And
I think
then
we should
Sydney,
just
you
roast
push it.
you at your funeral. Everyone just
I
roasts
hope you mean
you.
cook. I hope you mean actually cook me. Then on a big grill, on one side. In fact, I know the guy, Paul Hurley, he just grills the best meat. Grill me up and serve me, in those big French buns or whatever with an au jus.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking you're going to be kind of gamey, Zep. I don't know.
I want to play some of this Irish man praying a plank and blah, blah, blah at his funeral, but I redid the whole computer thing, so it's an old file because he swears so much. Those freaking Irish guys, he swears so much. I can't play it. Maybe we'll cook that up a little bit later. You know what we are talking about here in April in Minnesota? The State Fair. They're doing that early State Fair thing again, and we've got some information about that regarding today and the 4-day Minnesota State Fair kickoff event returning in May. The Sklar Brothers, Acme Comedy Club headliners, joining us in less than an hour. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Friday, April the 5th. The weekend is upon us. Tonight and tomorrow night at Acme, the Sklar Brothers will be appearing. They've been here for a couple nights already. They'll be there tonight and tomorrow, and they'll be here in the studio in about 30 minutes. Randy and Jason Sklar, great guys, very funny gentlemen. If you don't have plans for tonight or tomorrow night, the 9:30 shows each night still have a few tickets left, more than worth your time. We just heard Loverboy.
Oh, I love
Loverboy.
When Loverboy first came out, I was like, oh, God, no, that's terrible. They're way too popular and successful for me to acknowledge. I was deep into my new wave punk, post-punk, I know all the cool bands you don't mode. And the Loverboy went out on tour and opened for Journey in 81 or 82. And everybody went to the concert, and I made fun of everyone for being at the concert and going, oh, that's like the two worst bands in the world. And as that show was happening and I wasn't there, I remember thinking, I got to rethink some things. I'm like a dork in my basement listening to some stupid ass band from Belfast no one will ever hear of, and everyone else is out having fun. What the hell's wrong with me?
That's where you put Loverboy, right in the fun category. Not only my first concert with Joan Jett down there in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but lost my virginity to Turn Me Loose on vinyl. Yeah.
Really?
That's
wild. And by the way, wrapped her all up before the vocals started in.
Well,
I timed it out, 31-second ramp to that song. But yeah, all wrapped up by Yeah, that
Mike Reno is
young lady.
literally the coolest guy ever.
Really?
He is so nice.
Steve, really?
No,
He is
I
so
didn't know you
cool.
met Mike Reno.
Hell yeah, they were at Moon Dance I don't know, 4 years ago. And he just has cool bandanas. He's just a nice guy.
With those red leather pants.
Getting on a ferry out in Vancouver, British Columbia, 1990. So this is 34 stinking years ago. So there's Vancouver in the southwestern part of Canada, or as we call it, the northwest. Vancouver, and then off the coast, there's Vancouver Island, which is a large island out there with a city called Victoria. And to get there, if you're going to play a concert, you take a ferry. And it's a couple hours on a boat, most beautiful part of the world. It's gorgeous. We were getting on that ferry to go out to Vancouver Island, and there was a guy like a busker just standing there where you get on the boat, and he was wearing like a full what do you call the kind of? He was wearing it was like a white leather suit, not like Mike Reno's
like the
red
Navy
leather
uniform, or
it was just not leather. Sorry, suede. He had like the suede jacket with the fringe hanging down off the arms.
Oh yeah,
kind of like a galactic cowboy kind of vibe, but everything was white. And he was busking and playing songs, but he had a boombox that would play like the rhythm track, and then he would play guitar and sing over it. You know, you've seen guys like this a million times. And as we're standing there waiting for them to open the gates so you can walk on the boat, he's just there entertaining, and he's chatting with people, and he's actually pretty good. You know, he's one of those guys you're like 10 seconds in, you're like, well, this guy can actually sing. And then it's like, hey, he can actually play. That song's actually kind of catchy. And we're taking him in, and I'm looking at the guy, and I'm like, he kind of looks like someone. And he kind of sounds like someone. Long story short, it was Mike Reno's brother. and that came out, and we were like, you look and sound like the guy in Loverboy. And he's like, yeah, that's my little brother. And we're like, holy crap. And the guy was great. He was really funny. He was telling good stories, had a couple of jokes, and I was like, man, that's awesome. Mike Reno's brother out here just giving it to the people.
That makes sense. I mean, they're Canucks, so up there he's just taking it to the streets, doing it old school. He looks down his nose, probably at his brother's sellout with your red leather pants. Man, you guys just sold out working for the weekend. I'm still, doing it here on the streets.
Man, he was doing it on the streets. He was doing it on the docks, which is even more cool than doing it on the streets.
Does that mean you're not getting along with your brother? I mean, you can't. I suppose you're the older brother. You can't say, hey, suppose you could loan me like $1 million, could you? For nothing.
Well, no, you can do that. You can borrow money, but you definitely can't say, can I join your band? If you're the younger brother, you can join the band. If you're the older brother, no, you're just like,
Yeah.
No, I'm still too cool for you. Paul McCartney has a brother named Mike McCartney, and he made an album that he put an album out in the 60s, and he called it McGear. He changed his name to McGear, 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 because, of course, calling yourself McCartney in the 60s was commercial suicide. His brother's shadow loomed so large. And that Mike McGear album is great. I mean, it's like the saddest thing ever. It's like Paul McCartney has a brother who made an amazing record, and nobody will ever care about it because he's Paul McCartney's brother.
Yeah.
What a drag.
That is a drag. Maybe you should have stuck with the McCartney name.
Maybe you should have.
A little more attention. Who knows?
You can
write parody songs of all your brother's songs. Like instead of Yesterday, Tomorrow.
Sure.
And then really screw it up or whatever.
You can be a lot worse than your brother, but if your brother's Paul McCartney, you're still going to be pretty good. I think is how that math works.
Yeah.
The Minnesota State Fair kickoff event in May. Tickets are going on sale this week. So there's an event May 23rd to the 26th coming back. This is the 4th year in a row now. This is a whole, hey, in case you forgot about the great get-together, the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. This thing kicks off Thursday, May 23rd. That's St. Imelda Gorman's birthday, by the way. A bunch of new vendors coming to the kickoff event. Peachy's Baking Company, Amish Donuts, one of the biggest hits at the fair last year, and plenty of other stuff. I'm just looking at this list. What's jumping out at you, Zep?
Sorry, I do not have the story
pizza
open.
Coming back?
Thank you.
Is the Rick's Pickle Pizza gonna be there?
I'm not seeing pickle pizza
What the
yet.
heck?
I'm sorry. I didn't say it's not happening. I'm just saying I don't see it right in front of me.
I feel like it's gonna be there.
Okay, all right. 40 food and beverage vendors are going to open up in May. Oh, there is, right there. Pickle pizza from Rick's. Done. Boom.
All right.
You got it.
You'd think it's like not that big of a deal because a lot of places do pickle pizza now.
Right.
It's not unheard of.
Oh, yeah. No.
And the line's long, but it's worth it. It's so good. I don't know what it is, dude. I don't know.
I don't know what it is either, and everyone does their pickle pizza a little different. For example, Pizza Luce's pickle pizza is not like... I'm blanking on my other favorite pizza place in town, which is terrible because I buy their sauce by the jar. They sell it by the jar in there. That's really bugging me that I can't remember the name of it. Savoy, thank you. Red Savoy. Their pickle pizza is very different as well. It's the cheeseburger pizza with the pickles on it, but I love them all. Okay, I finally made the website. I don't know what I was thinking there. I was rocking out to Loverboy. What can I say? But I love this. It bookends. The state fair is special. It happens once a year. You go out there and you pig out on all that stuff that it just doesn't taste the same if someone else is serving it up. Many donuts just taste different and better for some reason out at the Minnesota State Fair. So I do like getting an extra little state fair in here in the spring to bookend the summer.
Oh, heck yeah. The one of the big events of this spring is this Monday. And, of course, that is the eclipse. This is the last solar eclipse until 2045. So, if you're in the eclipse mode, get on it. Candace is going to Arkansas for crying out loud.
Sure am.
You will be in the path of totality, as they call it. You'll have a complete blockout of the sun. You'll have the longest, as long as anybody gets to be in the darkness, you'll be there, Candace. And we can't wait to hear all about it.
The darkness.
Candace is bringing the darkness. Minnesota will get everybody's going to get some part of the eclipse. We're just not in the era of totality. But right now, it's kind of less than ideal. It's probably going to be kind of cloudy. It's not going to be what you're hoping for, which is a brilliantly clear day, so you can really get the thing. It's still cool. I mean, even if it's cloudy, it's still a very different charge in the atmosphere to ride out an eclipse. And so people all on Monday afternoon, everybody's going to be taking at least a few minutes to go outside and go like, that's cool.
Yeah, if you want to see the totality, here's how I'm going to do it. I'd like to see the whole thing. When I realized it wasn't going to happen again until after I was dead, most likely, that I decided to check it out. And Nat Geo, so you can watch it at home on the big 65-inch high-definition screen if you want, or going to show the entire thing. You don't even need the special glasses. I suppose you can wear them if you want to be in the mood. But back in 2017, the last time this happened, there was an Alaskan Airlines flight watching it. They're like, folks, if you look out to your right, you'll see the eclipse. These people watched it from the plane. And Candace, now you're going to be on the ground, so you can move around, but I hope you don't get stuck to someone like this. A guy filmed himself watching this. This is unedited audio. You're on the plane with this guy like, oh, there's a little solar eclipse. Let's check it out.
Shadow coming in. Oh, yeah, there it is. There's the shadow. Wow, look at that. Here it comes. Oh, my God, look at it. Here comes the shadow. Look at that. It's like a tornado. Oh, my God. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, my God. Look at this. Oh, my God. It's coming. The moon's shadow is coming. Oh, my God. Here it comes. Look at this. I've never seen it like this, ever. Only in a plane. No flashes. Oh, my God. Here we go. Look at it. Oh, my God. Whoa. Look at that. Oh, my God. Here we go. Oh, my God. It's coming right over us like a storm. Look at this. Oh, my God. We're getting close. Getting close.
Only 7 more minutes left.
I love this
Diamond
guy.
Barry's beads. Barry's beads diamond ring. Look at that. Gorman. Totality. Totality. Oh, my God.
Where's a peanut allergy when
Look
you
at
need
that.
one?
Totality.
I'm looking at the little line on my computer as we do when we're watching audio and videos, and we're not even a seventh of a way into that. It just goes on. I listened to it this morning and it went on, and I'm like, is this thing looping? No, he's just having a double rainbow moment up there at 35,000 feet and really flipping out.
I'm into it. I like enthusiasm in a man, you know?
I had one, didn't have anything close to as cool as that, but I did one time on a flight. Rosemary and I were flying from Atlanta to Miami, and the pilot came in on the old flight day. He goes, if you're on the left side of the plane here, we're going to have a good view of the space shuttle's taking off here in a few minutes. Hopefully we'll get a look at it. And on the left side of the plane, which we were located, sure enough, we were flying from Atlanta to Miami, but we were flying down he had flown over to the western part of the state. He said, we got to get out of the way of Cape Canaveral. And it was a perfectly clear day, and we looked right out the windows and sure enough watched a space shuttle take off.
Oh, that's damn cool.
And it was really cool because it goes from 0 to 30,000 feet real fast. Like, you watch planes take off and you're like, that guy seems like he's got a pretty steep angle of ascent. Let me tell you about that space shuttle. That mother was moving. I mean, we could see, you don't see anything. You're just looking at, but then all that, the smoke, the billowing smoke, that you can see it from the plane. And then you get, I see it. Yeah, here it comes. And you're just basically watching the smoke go up. And it was in a matter of seconds. That thing is like you're looking down and then you're raising your vision and then you're like, he's already where we are and he's going beyond us and then he's gone. Awesome.
Imagine what it would be like sitting in the nose of that thing. I mean, the G-forces they're pulling and the shaking, and you literally got the rocket, your Wile E. Coyote, sitting on the Acme rocket there, just strapped to your ass. By the way, I've let this run the entire time we're talking. I just turned it down. I'm just going to pot him back up real quick.
Look at that. Here comes the shadow. It's lifting up. It's going out. It's going out. Going up to the atmosphere. Oh, look at down there. Light. Oh, what is it? It's beating. Oh, there's a flare. Look at that diamond ring. Look at that. Oh, my God. Diamond ring. Oh, look at that. Oh, my God. Wow.
Sitting right next to Steve Gorman.
Man, I tell you what, that would not last. I'd be like, dude, I'm happy for you, but honestly, you best get it together.
All right,
I would probably enjoy sports more if he was like the sportscaster guy. He would keep me locked in.
Wow, he passed it and he caught it. Wow.
Look at him. He's running. He shot that. There he goes. Oh, they tackled it. They tackled him.
He threw that ball towards that orange hoop with the net and it went in. Wow.
It was a diamond.
Whoa. Works for me.
Whatever it takes, I guess.
All right, we got a couple of comedians waiting for us. The Sklar brothers are headlining Acme this week, and they're joining us here about 9:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, April 5th. Happy weekend. Happy night tonight and tomorrow at the Acme Comedy Club because the Sklar brothers will be performing 2 shows each night. The 7 o'clocks, you are out of luck. A few tickets remain for 9:30 tonight and tomorrow night. And as luck would have it, the Sklar brothers themselves, Randy and Jason, join us in studio. Gentlemen, good morning.
Oh, so good to see you, man. It's great to be here.
It's great to see you and have you in studio. Go Blue.
Hey, we did it. I know.
I thought of you both watching Michigan win the Natty this year, finally.
It was fabulous. It changed our lives. I mean, we went through, look, we don't have to tell you guys. I mean, Minnesota Golden Gopher football has won at least 9 national championships in the last 10 years. No, there was a moment where we beat Nick Saban and made him retire, and that felt good. Isn't that crazy?
That felt good for all of us.
Thank you.
Pretty much.
Just get him out of there and be done with it. It was so funny. Like, we went to the Rose Bowl. Of course, it's like 15 minutes from where I live. And
right.
They asked us to host the pep rally, and
wow,
it was at the Galen Center at USC because it's out in LA. And Randy and I come out, and the first joke we make, we're like, hey, it's great to be here at the Galen Center at USC, the house that USC built and then gave to Reggie Bush's parents.
That's right.
We're like, why are we making fun of this place? They're being nice to us. But I mean, we had like all the jokes, like very Michigan-specific jokes. We're like, we're excited to be here. Everyone's excited. We just got off the phone with Mel Tucker. He was breathing hard.
Wow.
Was he on the Peloton? I don't know. He was really, felt like he was active doing something. Yeah, he was worried. Let him cook is what we said. We're like, anybody do a wellness check on Paul Feinbaum? Does anybody have that? I mean, it was
hilarious.
All of it was great. And so, yeah, it was fun, like performing in front of like 7,000 people. And then as a result, the U of M Alumni Association gave us a bunch of tickets. Like, we got 10 tickets to the game, and we're sitting in the second row, like on the 30-yard line. unbelievable. I mean, it was so low we had to look over players' heads, which was a little stressful. But, we're in the third quarter of that game, we're like, they may not win this game.
It was looking
stressful.
a little dodgy for a minute there. For anyone listening who's wondering, you gentlemen are, as you said, you are alums. You went to Michigan. That's why I started there.
So we went to Michigan, and my daughter is a freshman there now.
Oh, nice.
Which is amazing. The circle has completed. She's
Beautiful.
She's doing like improv comedy in the same comedy group that John Glazer was in there. And so really the circle has completed. So as soon as, this was crazy if you want to hear a story. So afterwards Michigan wins in overtime, if people don't know, and we're out on the walking back to our car. And, Dodger Stadium is widely considered the worst place to leave for parking. People are like, why are there no fans in the stands from the 7th to the 9th inning? Because they're all trying to get out of the parking lot.
Yes,
it's
they are.
the circle of death that you can't get out of there.
I was there last summer for the first time in 20 years, and literally as we were parking, I went, I forgot. Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
I lost my car in that parking lot,
right?
But I think that was my fault.
It's still there. You're like, it happens. It is impossible to get. People are like, where are the fans in the first 3 innings? They're parking. It's so hard.
Exactly.
So take the Rose Bowl, that's like a million times worse because there's like one exit, 80,000 cars, and there is like one guy with an orange vest on, and he's not even directing people. So we're trying to get out of there, and we're walking out, and we're in such good mood. We're like chanting and singing and not even being mean to Alabama fans. We're actually being nice. And we see a commotion to our left. This is crazy. We see like an old guy on his hands and knees, which anytime you see an old guy sitting down in public, you're like, this is not good.
Right, sure.
He either got sucker punched or he's like so drunk.
Stay on your feet.
We got over to him, and he is so drunk. He's the drunkest person I've ever seen in my entire life. So drunk, I can't tell if he's like 80 or 60. Like, it's obscured his age. And so Randy reaches down to pick this guy up. Like, no Alabama fans are helping this guy, but a couple Michigan fans go to help him out. Randy reaches under his arms to pick him up, and it felt like what? Felt like I put my hands in just a loose bowl of Jell-O. Like, he had gotten so drunk, he had saturated his bones with alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
He had the old bone soak. And I'm like, me and my friend who's like, we're like, we don't know what to do with this guy.
Yeah.
So we're like, do you have friends here, man? Please tell me you came with people. He's like, call Steve in my phone. We're like, so they open his phone. They open his phone. You know how old people like really just amp up that phone font?
Sure.
Where, like,
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, so he had to type S and then scroll up T, scroll up E, scroll up V, scroll up E. Like, what is this, 64 point? Finally, we get the guy. We're like, get your boys over here by Balloon 2. Then we say to the guy, we got to go. Where do you want us to, like, put you? And he's like, I want to lay down over there. We're like, over where? There's no bench or anything.
Yeah.
Right over there. We're like, he's pointing at the garbage can where there are a bunch of like bags of garbage. He wants to lay down on the bags of garbage because they look soft. So it was no irony was lost on us that after the game, we as 5 Michigan fans put an older Alabama fan in the garbage. Literally. The definition of white trash.
I spent a lot of years in SEC country. The old Alabama bone soak is a honed tradition.
That's real. I mean, you'll love this, and this is why I love my daughter. And so, like, he goes to sleep immediately, like, goes to sleep, and then wakes up 3 seconds later, like he woke up out of a 10-year coma. It's like, who's the president? We're like, all right, dude, relax. And so he gets up, and he tries to get up to leave, which we all know is a bad idea. And then my daughter, who's a freshman at Michigan, Daisy, looks down at him and says, no, sir, you stay, because those who stay will be champions. That is what is written over the locker room at the Michigan football stadium.
So, wow.
Big Ten.
Brilliant.
We want
Chip
one
off
for
the
the
old
Big
block.
Ten.
Very, very nicely played, Daisy Sklar. I like that. Sklar Brothers are at Acme tonight and tomorrow night. The 9:30 shows both nights have a couple of tickets left. I would recommend you take advantage of that fact. You guys are obviously been performing together, living together. You are twins, in case this is new news to anyone listening.
Yes.
Does that mean that you also did, as you were coming up of age, teen years, did you do all the same things together for the first time? Like first concert, was it the same concert?
It was the same concert. It was Loverboy and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
We were just talking about Loverboy a minute ago.
That was my first show. I saw them in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I forget. You guys probably remember the years. I suck at that, but it was Loverboy and Joan Jett.
What was the album? So like we saw the Hot Girls in Love, that album. So it was like 83, I want to say.
Yeah.
That's it. Hot Girls in Love. I was going to say 82, so it was probably 83. You're right. Yeah.
It was definitely the album after like Working for the Weekend and and all that stuff. But I mean, Joan Jett opened up and she was amazing.
Just killed it.
She killed it. I mean, we saw so many great we saw Rush twice in St. Louis. We saw Genesis. We saw Journey in St. Louis. You guys just played Journey. We saw them. We saw one of the best concerts. We saw Tom Petty and Lenny Kravitz on the Let Love Rule tour open for Tom Petty in St. Louis. That was a great concert. Who else did we see? We saw Starship in the knee deep in the hoopla. We built this city on rock and roll tour.
You had me for a while.
I mean, dude,
Starship out there.
I know. It was
no,
Starship,
it was still fine, I'm sure.
I mean, they played Jane, and that song rocked.
Yeah.
Actually, it does. It's we you can't help but make fun of We Built the City, but
of course.
Jane's pretty slamming.
Well, I can't hear the song Jane and not think of our buddy's film Wet Hot American Summer. The opening sequence when they're around the campfire, it's all Jane. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah,
it is a banger, as they say. But I put that in the same category as like Jane, Hold the Line, by Toto. All those songs had that sort of like.
Of course,
those right. And we saw REO Speedwagon, which was fantastic. They were great. We knew all those songs. I mean, there was a concert on MTV. We grew up on MTV. There was a concert on MTV like years ago. There was like a split concert. It was happening both the same night, and they had like Alan Hunter was at one place, and then I forgot who was at the other place. But like
JJ Jackson.
Mark
Who's that cute gal?
Martha Quinn.
Thank you.
And then there was the other girl who talked like this. Oh, Nina Blackwood. Jane and I met her when we were doing something, and she was the nicest person ever. Easily the most beautiful woman ever on MTV was Serena Altschul. Unbelievably gorgeous.
That's Serena Altschul.
She did the news.
Right.
But so in Houston, Texas, they had Journey in that classic 81 concert where he's like, just a small town boy, born and raised right here in Houston.
Oh, come on.
So he did that.
Oh, my God.
Journey where he's in the yellow T-shirt, cool shirt, and then they did REO Speedwagon live wherever they were, and it was magic. Yeah, it was great. It was like a double concert. So, I mean, we saw both those guys. So we were like very much classic rock dudes when we were kind of growing up. I wish, St. Louis, Missouri in the 80s. Come on.
Sure.
We were like, it was like a ZZ Top frosted mirror from a carnival. That's who we were.
I won a frosted mirror at the Western Kentucky State Fair when I was in like 7th grade. And I brought it home and I showed it to my dad, Don Gorman, Detroit, Michigan, U.S. Marines. I brought this home thinking he would be impressed. And the mirror I won, it said in the Coca-Cola font, it said cocaine, rich man's aspirin.
Oh.
That didn't go over so well.
Semper Fi.
Yeah, 1978. I was like, Dad, check this mirror out. And he took one look at it, went right to the trash can, literally.
Jeez. Just know your audience. That's something you learn in comedy. Know your audience.
Yeah, the same man that I showed the Kiss Alive 2 double gatefold. I was like, look at this photo. And
he doesn't care. He's like, what are you talking about?
The good thing about like Kiss and all the bands, and then I was a brief member of the Kiss Army, but then when New Wave and post-punk, that really got me. But the best thing about that was suddenly my parents were like, just put on the Beatles again. We can go back to that, can't we?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, okay.
It's true. By the way, we were in the Kiss Army Reserves. We only got called up once a month.
Yeah, really.
That was my favorite thing. Like this song, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
I don't think I could party the first day after the first night that I'd rocked and rolled all night. I'd be like, can we take a break, you guys? This feels like a prison sentence.
Have you ever seen Kiss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. You mean Knights in Satan's Service? That's what my mom called them. Because I got in the Kiss Army. I got the patch.
Of course.
I wanted her to put it on my jean jacket, and one of the ladies at church told her, that's Knights in Satan's Service. And there I am sitting there with the Kiss Alive 2 album, wide open, with the jean, and he's just bloody. And it was hard to argue with her.
Yeah,
but
you're like, you're right. Ma'am, you are correct.
I just used safety pins and put it on.
Have you seen the video on YouTube where they stop the concert because someone has a laser pointer? I highly recommend it. It's great.
Okay. Oh, no, I've missed
Paul
it.
Stanley's suddenly like in his Long Island. He's like your Long Island aunt. He's like, Hey, you with the laser pointer. I'll come out there and I'll beat you up. Don't you do that with a laser pointer. And you can see behind him, was it Ace Frehley? Ace Frehley is walking around because he's like, Paul, why would you stop the show to get one guy with a laser pointer? You've totally killed the momentum of the show. Yeah. And Ace Frehley, who's gotten a little big for the spacesuit.
Sure.
Our friend Neil Mahoney, who sadly passed away, he made the greatest observation in this video because we were watching with him. He's like, he looks like a baked potato on top of 2 French fries. And like not even regular French fries, crinkle cut fries where it looks like his legs are buckling under the weight of the potato.
Sure.
Right, let's see if we can catch this right here.
Who's got the laser over here?
Who's got the laser?
The one with the white t-shirt, right?
Tough guy, huh?
I like the bands all come together. Peter Criss is off the drum kit. Yeah. He's come down in front, and they're all standing there pointing.
Yeah, they're just looking.
Laser around one more time. Listen to me. Hey, schmuck.
Hey, schmuck.
Take the laser around one more time. I'll put it.
I had the tough
down. You know, but I mean, it is really funny. I'm like, you guys just play the songs. Like, you can play over a laser pointer. No one's going to.
You can.
Not landing a plane.
It's right.
There can be no greater like emasculating moment than having Paul Stanley call you out. I mean, you know, the love or whatever is Starman himself,
the man who coined the phrase "lick it up."
Yeah.
Now, Randy and I think in Minneapolis with our old buddy Jim Weber, who used to manage the band Detroit here in Minneapolis. Okay. And so we used to do shows at the 400 bar with those guys. I mean, we have a deep, deep Minneapolis connection to the music scene of this town. I think we did a show, and then after the show, he took us to some concert venue. I wish I could remember it, and we saw Mini Kiss.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Mini Kiss.
Yeah.
Little Hershey's Kisses. They were delicious. So fun. Mini Pyro. It was great. The whole thing was unbelievable. I mean, the amount of So this is how much Minneapolis is a rock and roll town. Randy and I, in the early 2000s, this is the first club we ever headlined. Our buddy Nick Swartzen brought us out here. And we co-headlined here, and then we started headlining the club. And our friend Jim Weber was like, because we did a bit at the end of our set. This is from our first Comedy Central half hour where we did something called the Straight Man Cabaret, where it's basically just us air guitaring and air keyboarding Roll with the Changes by REO Speedwagon. Unbelievable guitar solo, unbelievable keyboard solo at the end. Gary Richrath, that's right. Super fun. And he was like, at the end of it, do you want me to do some pyro? Mm-hmm. And we're like, yeah, we want pyro.
So what kind of question is that? How often do comedians get that question?
I think we terrified people at Acme. This is in 2003 or 4. We finished our set, and he triggered an explosion inside of Acme. We could have taken everyone down, but it was so fun. Man. Amazing. Man.
God, that had to be a first pyro. And a last at Acme.
At Acme, pyro. And now we let our jokes do the explosions, okay?
Attaboy. Tonight and tomorrow night, the 9:30 shows, both nights have a couple tickets left. The Sklar brothers who've been at Acme. I mean, how many times have you been at Acme?
So we've probably been there. Tons. Yeah, probably like maybe 8 times over the course of maybe more. Yeah. It's just one of our favorite clubs in the world. We just saw our buddy Kyle Kinane just released his special like a few days ago that Bobcat shot at Acme. It looks absolutely beautiful, and the club is just better than ever. It's just it's the perfect. If you were to design it, you're like, go downstairs, you go down to go to Comedy Heaven. Let's understand that you go downstairs. All the great clubs are downstairs. Ceiling is low. Ceiling is low. The laughs kind of stay in there. They bounce around, and it is just like a warm, wonderful environment. So for us, we're like, we love this hour that we're doing right now. Love it more than any hour we've ever done, which is really the way you should be. You should always be ascending.
Of course.
We're not just recycling old stuff. So we love this hour, and we love this club. So and our feature act and our opening act are amazing. Nate Abshire, who is just I love him so much. Jay and I bring him on the road with us.
He owes me $20.
Does he really? Abshire. Well, that doesn't. You're like, he's all right. Doesn't like Abshire? He is a headliner, and he just decided, to us, he's doing us the favor of featuring for us.
Yeah, great.
And then our friend Wendy Mayberry, who is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
She's great, too.
She's amazing.
She is great.
And then I think this is the first time she's hosting
They've both been right in the chairs you now sit in, gentlemen.
I love them both. So it's a great show, top to bottom.
Have you seen Nate Abshire's album cover for his comedy album? It's one of the great ones of all time.
The Meteor?
The Meteor, yeah, where Nate is the Meteor. That's phenomenal. That should sell albums right there.
It's brilliant.
Gentlemen, Monday there's a big solar eclipse. Do you have plans? And by the way, you guys are Missourians, right?
Yes.
Near the path of totality. Everybody's heading to northwest Arkansas, southeastern Mizzou.
That's right.
To be a part of the eclipse. You'll be, what, in L.A. ignoring it like most of us?
Probably we'll be sleeping or dealing with our kids.
Yeah.
I want to sell, instead of there's a whole thing about people selling like fake glasses and not.
Yeah, sure.
not
You got to
safe.
make sure you got the right things.
We're going to be selling shoe boxes with pinholes in them.
We were talking about that. When we were kids,
Right.
there were, that's what they used to do at school. I never understood what I was supposed to be looking at. I was so confused.
You're looking through the hole of the thing.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be poking holes in condoms. We're going to be doing that across America.
Whatever it
Just
is.
as a prank to get people involved in the solar eclipse. It is really, it's like more, this is probably the only time in history where people are like, I got to get to Cleveland. I got to get there now. And then there are other people who are like, Cleveland, I'm going to Buffalo. You're like, wow, the path of this thing is like all football teams that made it to the Super Bowl but never won.
Yeah, it's the greatest thing to happen to the Rust Belt in 100 years.
It's amazing.
Thank God for the eclipse. Well, the next one's not till 2045, so just.
Guys,
think
get
twice
out there
about
and enjoy
skipping it.
this. Enjoy this one while you've got it. Get in the path and don't look directly at the sun. Okay, this is how dumb people are. You have to tell everyone, do not look. Yeah. Just because it's over, you're going to blind. How many people are going? Every hospital is like, let's get more of the eye people on board.
Yeah.
We need 12 more eye doctors here because people are going to be idiots.
We've all had that day on the cloudy day where we were doing yard work and still got a sunburn.
Right.
It's the same principle.
We don't listen. We don't want to believe the truth.
Applies.
We don't want to believe
I've
in
never
science.
done that.
No,
never.
No. Candace,
No,
translucent Candace.
Right.
Keep her.
Yeah,
in
right.
fact, this room is too bright for her right now.
Yeah, you should have a gimp suit on when you're out there watching this thing.
I got to be careful. I'm going down there. I'm going with Nate to Abshire.
Yeah,
I know. You're going down to check it out. So
I'm
just
nervous,
unzip the mask and you'll be fine.
Man, you
It's gonna
don't.
be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
You don't hear that unzip the mask very often, but everybody knows exactly what you are. That's theater of the mind, baby.
We've all seen Pulp Fiction. We all saw the guy get back into the trunk.
By the way, here's an unsolicited recommendation on Peacock. Is anyone hip to Who Killed Robert I?
No.
Do yourselves a favor. I don't care if you're into true crime or not. And by the way,
cult documentary?
the last name
I'll watch
is
a cult documentary.
Who
It's
killed Robert I?
Kennedy? Right?
No, Robert. This guy's last name is spelled W-O-N-E. Robert One or Wone, and it's like a 2-part. You can get in and out in a night. An unsolved murder from our nation's capital in 2006, and trust me when I say you are not ready.
I am all in.
You are not ready.
I am so in. So there was, what was
the fact that the zipper mask is what prompted it should lead you down.
Yeah. Well, no, there is the famous one. What was the one that the NXIVM cult? So no, not the NXIVM, but there's one that Wild Wild Country. Not Wild Wild Country. There's one where that 21 minutes and 11 seconds in the thing where. It's about the neighbor, the guy whose his neighbor convinces him.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
What is it? Strangers Among Us. What was it?
Okay, I'm in.
So basically, a guy kidnaps a guy, whatever, and it's he kidnaps. It's not great what happens, but it was like a church-going group of people that believed in. And they were they all sort of it was a Mormon type of a thing. Okay. And just what the old man who's like someone's grandpa, what he says I don't want to even give it away, at minutes 21:10.
Okay. All right.
What he did for this guy. It's like the craziest thing you've ever heard. You're like,
Fair
I
enough.
cannot believe this.
All right, good. We've tried to freak each other out with recommendations.
Right? I'm in. If anything, any cult documentary I will watch.
Okay. Awesome. I am perennially putting together new bands, and I have a new project. It's in early days, but I need a good name. Surely you have a band name you always thought would work.
Of course.
What do you got? Give me something.
Jay, what do you have as a band name? How about cult documentary?
Cult documentary.
Cult documentary.
All right.
It's not bad.
It's
I
not
think
bad.
that'd be good.
Anything else?
Gary's Players.
Gary's Players.
Gary's got a boner. Remember the replacement song?
Yeah, Gary's Players is good.
Gary's Players.
My buddy John Fields, he's a producer in town. I was talking to him the other day, and he goes, "I've always wanted to have a band called Roger Houston."
Yeah.
I was like, that's a good one. That's for a kind of good punk band name.
Roger, Houston.
Roger, Houston.
Wait, so what is the band? What's the style of music that the band is playing?
Oh,
just rock.
Let's just call it rock and roll. Because why not? Yeah,
sure. Okay.
All right, but think about it. Get back to me.
I will.
Don't go anywhere. We're about to. Hey, Sklar Brothers at Acme tonight and tomorrow night. There are 4 shows remaining, 2 of which still have some tickets. 9:30. Both nights have a few. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to see you.
I have another name, Leghorn Foghorn.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I can see it. Stay right where you are because I would like to. We close the show with a sports and music history lesson, so please enjoy it with us, will you?
We will.
Unbelievable! In sports history.
I'm about to give you a music history lesson.
Sports music history.
It is April 5th. Where were the two of you on this day in 1993?
April 5th, 1993. We were at Michigan.
It's about to get painful.
Oh,
the great woulda, coulda, shoulda NBA star of all time.
It's the Chris Webber timeout.
Chris Webber timeout. 31 years ago today.
So the crazy thing is that when we were watching the first run of the Fab Five,
right?
We're watching at a friend's house.
Yep.
This just tells you those superstition in sports. Watching at a friend's house, and our friend Dean Lynn, who was in our fraternity, he was out on the Weber grill cooking a piece of chicken at the beginning. It was the game against UCLA where we were down by 17 points.
Yeah.
And we come all at halftime, he goes to cook the chicken on the grill. Then the game gets super exciting. We forget about the chicken on the grill. Of
course.
It burns into a crisp, but Michigan comes back and beats UCLA.
Right.
And then we think that we caused that to happen by sending a burnt offering to the basketball gods.
Of course. Well,
so
you
for
did.
Every game after
explain
that,
that.
we burned chicken on a grill in order to win, but it couldn't save us in the end. I mean, look, for that timeout, which was terrible, and he was the reason that you were even in that game. So you got to look at the totality of that and be like, that we wouldn't have been there without him.
That's a very good point. I do think it hamstrung his entire NBA career. He was never final moments of a fourth quarter of a tight game forever. He was tense.
I mean, that was bad, but he played for the Sacramento Kings, which was the most fun team ever. The Mike Bibby and White Chocolate and Peja Stoyankovic and Hedo Turkoglu and him.
Yep.
He played and Vlade Divac, but they actually played in the word. They got Roddicked.
Yeah.
They got Andy Roddick, meaning Andy Roddick was like a phenomenal tennis player who won U.S. Open and then played in the worst era for him ever because he played Djokovic and Nadal and Federer, and you were never going to win ever.
Yep.
And so they played against the Kobe and Shaq Lakers. You were never going to win, but he had a great, almost Hall of Fame career.
Should have. I'm just saying, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Because man, he had all the skills.
Sure.
Not unlike Roy Tarpley, the ultimate woulda, coulda, shoulda. As long as you're talking about Michigan players who could have done more. I got to move on. On this day in 1995, I played a gig in Pensacola, Florida, with my former rock and roll combo, the Black Crowes.
Yeah.
The Dirty Dozen Brass Band were opening for us that year on tour. They showed up from New Orleans after a day off with a whole bunch of crawfish, and we had ourselves a hell of a crawfish boil all afternoon long.
Yeah.
Only problem with that is I walked on stage by far the drunkest in my entire career.
Oh my God.
The Pensacola Bayfront Auditorium. Anybody who was there, I apologize. I could barely stand up, but it was okay. You know why? Because the only person in the building drunker than me was our singer.
I thought he smoked weed.
I kid you not. Nobody noticed I couldn't play because of what he was doing on that microphone. It was great. So the lesson as always, for any young aspiring musician, if you notice 20, 30 minutes before the set, oh my God, I'm way past the line. Find your singer.
And get him drunk.
Get him a bottle of tequila.
That was a thorn in your pride. That was.
There you go.
Hey man, that's the theory of relativity. That is the theory of relativity.
That is exactly
at work.
Finally, on this day in 1980, a high holy day for me personally, the first ever show by a band called REM in Athens, Georgia. They played at a friend's birthday party at the St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Athens, Georgia. And I kid you not, when I say it's a high holy day, I would not play music if it were not for REM. I also saw REM on this day in 1983, opening for the English Beat. That's how cool I am.
An incredible concert. Like, that's
amazing.
So here's what I was saying. Like, who takes over at the Sphere? Who plays, what band out there could U2 the Sphere? And in my mind, I'm like, REM. I don't know if they'd ever get back together, but like.
Not going to happen.
I know, but if they would, it just would be incredible. You would go. REM was so good, they made the B-52s good. No, the B-52s were great, but they pulled them into their sphere of magic.
They certainly did.
Certainly Dead Letter Office. Was that one of their
albums? That's all the B-sides.
So good. All those.
All good.
I mean, Driver 8. Like, I'm talking about the songs that weren't. They're big. Jay and I were like house painters. We like painted houses in like when we were in, I don't know, almost like 9th grade. That was like a summertime job. And we had Life's a Rich pageant on tape. And we played it so much while we painted houses that like it basically, it cleared so that it would look like a blank gray tape. But we had played all the writing off the tape. That's how much we love
Right there with you. Sklar Brothers at Acme tonight and tomorrow night. Tickets for the 9:30 show still available. Gentlemen, thank you. We got to bounce.
Thank you so much.
Love you, buddy.
See ya.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.